good Monday. What's going on? It's me. Rock. Back in the saddle. Lowercase over there. What's up?
How we doing, Rob?
God, never better. And I always say that, but I mean it. Never better. It's good to be back. Got some sunshine down in San Diego over the weekend while everyone here was underwater. Terrible. Some of these videos.
How'd you shoot this weekend?
I was fine. But you know what? The weather was great.
That's the best part.
Sunny and 66 degrees. I was in shorts and a golf shirt. That's all I wanted. And so Dusty was just showing me some vids of the Clackamas River and what's going on down there. Yikes. Hope everyone's okay. Some flooding. Things way up there.
Yeah, that looked
It is gnarly, man. And that's no good. But I was telling everyone down there that would listen, I'm like, yeah, it's really messy up there right now. That's why I'm down here. And they're like, yeah, good on you. I almost felt guilty. But then I kind of didn't. So I had a good weekend. So I'm doing great. Now, how's everybody around here? I don't know. I don't know. I haven't seen Suk for a while. Won't see him for a while. I don't know. How's lowercase? Your Steelers got a dub.
I'm feeling great after that. My heart was racing towards the end there, but I'm feeling good.
Was that really a touchdown at the end?
There's no way he crossed that. He didn't cross the plane.
That's what I think, too. And they never really showed it. Did they? They show a replay?
They avoided that. The call on the field, I think they were trying to avoid the fact that they had a really bad inadvertent whistle when he was trying to pitch the ball to Goff.
Oh. Yeah, okay, I see what you mean.
Because his momentum wasn't necessarily stopped, and if if it's going to run out the clock anyways, run it all the way out. Let the man go down to a knee.
Right. Wild finish. But yeah, okay. Oh, there it is right there. They just showed the replay. Look at that. We ask, we shall receive. I'm watching ESPN's on in here, and they just showed a slow-mo of that last play. And I had not seen a slow-mo. Maybe I just missed it. But, it didn't look like he scored a tutty, but they said he scored a tutty, but it didn't matter because of interference. And look at Mike Tomlin, will ya? Everybody said Mike Tomlin should be fired. This reporter was saying John Harbaugh should be fired over Mike Tomlin, and now what do we think?
I still think Harbaugh should be fired.
I agree.
I was never in the fire Tomlin camp.
He's good.
It's just not what we do. It's in the Steelers. It's just not what we do.
He's good. Tomlin's good. He's proven it again. Like, you think, maybe it's time, and then, you just can't quit that guy. All right, well, big show to plan today? Maybe? Question mark? Probably not. But Mondays are fun, especially after a good weekend of football. We'll have a good time diving into all that stuff. I got to get you some hot takes on the college football playoff quarters since this is going to be my last show for a bit. And so we'll do that today. Oregon, Texas Tech, already on my mind. There was going to be a special guest host today, lowercase. And
who was that?
Well, I was going to have, 1 second here. Got to pull up my drop pages. Not prepared today. I was going to have the great, the indelible, the unforgettable Dave Bartu as College Football Matrix as a guest host today, and he had to bail. He had a family issue, so we wish him the best and a Merry Christmas. You will not be hearing from the Stat Badger, as I was going to call him today and see what he thought. I like the Matrix. I think that's a great, College Football Matrix. Dave's known as College Football Matrix, but I feel like he needed a nickname, and I was going to present that to him today. The Stat Badger. Isn't that kind of badass? Or do we not like that?
I think Badger plays well.
The Stat
I think
Badger.
That's a good, of all animals to pick. The Stat Badger is...
Because he is a badger. He's an animal. He'll rip your face off. Anyway.
You're so cute, Jason.
He couldn't make it in. So the Stat Badger... maybe we'll get him over the holidays or something. Get him some, get his college football playoff quarterfinal takes in there. I know he's running some NFL numbers this year too. So check him out, College Football Matrix, Dave Bartu. Maybe we'll have him on some other day. We did have. I thought it was cool that we had pop-up sports today. Sometimes sports just pop up and you forget that they were going to be on, or you didn't even know they were going to be on. And I love that about sports. Sometimes. I don't know, sometimes Major League Baseball playoff games can be this way where they surprise you. like it's a Tuesday afternoon and you're just going about your business, or maybe even morning, and you're like, oh my God, they're in the third inning.
Wintertime basketball feels like that for me.
You mean like NBA?
NBA. Like Christmas time NBA is always the one where I go, oh, I can watch basketball in between football games right now. And it turns out it's usually a good game.
Yeah, like standalone game. You mean like I see. There's a lot of them. I think that sometimes the NFL Europe games, we forget that they're playing in Europe, and you wake up on a Sunday morning, and it's like 7 a.m, and you don't want to wait another couple hours for football. You're jonesing, you're ready to go. You got your war paint on, and boom, you turn it on. It's like, oh yeah, there's a game in Europe, and it's usually a crappy game, and it's the Jags or something. But I don't know, it's worth watching. So I think I love a good flash sale sporting event, and we had one today because I was just hanging around getting the show ready today at my house at 11:30 noon, and I happened to catch on the scroll that Washington State was playing in their bowl game today, and
they played today?
Damned, yes, it's over. They won. The Cougs won. Go Cougs! Yeah, they won. They played Utah State today. And I even had a bet on it. I bet on the Cougs, but I bet on them weeks ago. I just assumed the game was going to be like, I don't know, kind of like after Christmas in that early bowl game time. But no, they were on today, surprised the hell out of me. Flip it on. Not the prettiest of games, but they beat Utah State and Bronco Mendenhall 34-21 today. And what that means is, as you well know, the Pac-12 finishes undefeated in this bowl season at 1-0. They did it. Beat that, SEC. Am I wrong? And yeah, it was ugly. They were playing on the blue turf in Boise. And boy, I like Wazoo, man. I think they're scrappy. They're what Oregon State should be. And I enjoyed watching that game, but it was, it was kind of a Mario Cristobal kind of lesson, and we kind of want to blow this game, but we're still really trying hard, but we kind of want to blow this game. Well, they didn't blow it. They held them off, and guys were dropping like flies. I mean, it was terrible. But pop-up sports, the another one that's like that sometimes are NFL Saturday games that surprise you. We had 2 Saturday games this past weekend, but I remember there have been years where I'm just kicking it on a Saturday. I'm like, oh yeah. NFL games on, and I pull that up. So it's very exciting. It's like bonus sports. You forget that and they kind of fill a void of time that you would otherwise not have sports or anything cool going on, which is even better. Which I think would be an awesome thing for sports to try to, liven up the schedule a little bit with some off time games. Like Mac did this. The Mac, the Maction, they just said, you know what? Nobody's watching our crap against all the other crap.
Give me a random Tuesday night.
We're going to play on Tuesday, and I don't care what the coaches think. I love that. Then they, Maction, it's a thing now. Tuesday nights, Wednesday nights. I don't know when else you could do it, but morning pop-up sports, surprise sports are great. So we will get some college football playoff thoughts in here. The Ducks advance. Did anything change for you? I am going to need some help with my survivor pool this week. It's me and 7 others playing for an embarrassing amount of money. And boy, it is going to get wild in week 17 because there are no easy ones. And hell, we thought we had an easy one with Houston last week or yesterday with the Raiders, and it was anything but. So we'll talk about that. And where were you when the 2000 NBA Finals edition? I remember because the Blazers are playing the Pistons tonight. The Detroit Pistons are in town, and they're pretty good. They're fun to watch. Should be a good time at the Moda Center tonight, and they are commemorating the 2000 West Finals team. Now, remind me again what year you were born?
2001.
Yes, exactly, 2001. So you were possibly what date?
I'm born September 8th.
Okay, so you
most likely December. Christmas time was when my father.
So this was when they
my brother's also September, and I got another brother in August, so it's a known thing.
Okay. So it's a known thing. It wasn't this night that you were conceived, but not long after. It was 2000 NBA Finals. We all remember it. We don't need to relive it. The Blazers losing to the Lakers, blowing it in the fourth quarter. They're commemorating that team tonight, and we have to talk about. That's one of those sporting events that I remember exactly where I was when it went down. Like OJ. This is like in the olden days before you were even thought. The OJ chase, you always remember where you were, and there's various things like that throughout the history of sports or your sports lifetime that you remember. And I got to tell you that NBA fan, I'm not even an NBA fan, wasn't a Blazer fan, wasn't a Laker fan. I remember everything about that night, or I guess it was afternoon, I think. So yeah, I remember everything from that date, and we're gonna talk about that. We're gonna talk about that today, and the club coming up tonight. I've got the top pop culture moments from 2025 that you have already forgotten about, and the most iconic Christmas movie characters. Those are a couple of topics we will tackle tonight from 6 to 7. So it's nice to have you along. I'm only back for a day, and then I'm going to head off on vacation. I don't even know why I'm here, but I don't know. One's better than none, I guess. Good to be back. Talking some sport. We got a lot.
I don't think anyone wants to hear the solo show yet.
From good old
lowercase.
Man, if I hadn't shown up today, that's what we would have gotten.
I guess.
Boy, you talk about throwing you in the deep end. That would have been great. All Steelers talk.
I would just start singing Christmas carols the entire time.
You start rapping. Steeler calls. Well, anyway, I made it. Sue will be in tomorrow, and then we're off the rest of the week. So we've got a lot to get to. Let's start with the college football playoff thoughts from the weekend. Did the Ducks, they advanced, but did anything change for you? We'll start there when we return here on 105.1 The Fan. Here's the fan text line already on fire today. 503-864-6326, I think that's right. Someone asked, because we had the famous Idaho Potato Bowl today, and it surprised us, and it was great. Washington State, well, the game wasn't great, but it was just nice to have football on a random Monday. And Washington State beat Utah State. Bronco Mendenhall, who's, gained a little weight since I saw him last. Almost didn't recognize him. But he's not like Mike Elko. Boy, did you see that fella? That guy. Anyway, we don't need to get into that. Why would I talk about that? That's terrible. I'm awful. It's Christmas time. Anyway, rewind. The famous Idaho Potato Bowl is famous-ish for its fry bath on the winning coach. So the whoever wins, this interim coach for Washington State, he got doused with a tub of French fries, after the game. And it raises two questions. The first one coming from the fan text line. And he says, in honor of the Potato Bowl today, I was curious which side dish you would most like to get poured over you after winning a football game. Great question. I will ask a side question first and say, what type of French fry would you want poured over you after winning a football game? For me, it's the waffle fry.
It might be a steak fry. I really do like a good steak fry, but also, what are those crunchy, pub fries? The ones that usually have the golden outside on them? Those ones.
Maybe the garlic? What do they call them? Like garlic parm fries or something? Is that what you're talking about?
Yeah, but then you're smelling like garlic parm the entire time.
But that's good, isn't it?
It's not bad.
Well, I was thinking, to answer his question, I was thinking coleslaw. Wouldn't that be cool? I mean, because, my first thought was gravy. I don't know why.
A sauce of some sort.
Yeah, I think fries is kind of a cop-out in a way.
I was thinking applesauce. I don't know
there
why,
you go.
But applesauce.
Same idea. It's got to be messy. The water, it's probably pretty annoying, but that's the whole point. You don't care. You just want a big football game. But yeah, applesauce, gravy. I think coleslaw would be fantastic.
That's a good one, too.
Because then you kind of eat, you grab a fork and eat it off your neck, Anyway, great question. Good start to the day. All right, well, Oregon won. Final 51-34, I think. That's what the final of that game was. And backdoor cover. Backdoor cover, guys. For those of you that hammered Oregon. Yeah, that one probably stung a little bit because it was 48-13, and the Ducks were on the 5-yard line or something, about to go up 55-13. 20-point spread, should cover easily. Yeah, interception and then backdoor cover. So no fun there. And that, I think we're kind of maybe overreacting a little bit to how much that mattered. The second half was not good for Oregon, but honestly, Oregon had no incentive to lay it on. And James Madison had every incentive to make it look respectable, Yeah. It was just a weird game. I mean, Suk was talking about how all week, or the 2 weeks leading up to the game, how the James Madison quarterback can't throw. Didn't they throw for like 500 yards, 300 yards or something?
He had a nice little game.
Yeah. So, I mean, these games, this is why.
273 through the air on 48 passes.
Yeah, he threw 48 times. So, I mean, these games just have such randomness to them. They're very hard to predict. But the bottom line is Oregon dominated James Madison. And we knew they were going to dominate, or should dominate James Madison, and they did. So I don't think anything changes, at least for me, regarding Oregon going into the Texas Tech game. I'd already been thinking about the Texas Tech game. Because the reality is Oregon's been a little up and down all year. I mean, they've been a little uneven, if you think about it. And this game was no different. I think, if you look at these 4 quarterfinal games, it sort of feels like, to me, you have, in all 4 matchups, you have a team, maybe Georgia, Ole Miss, maybe an exception there, because Georgia has had a little bit of an uneven season. Early on, they were not as good. But it's not like everybody's just been all dialed every game all season. I'm just saying that Oregon's been a little up and down. Georgia's been a little up and down. But my point was, I think if you look at all 4 quarterfinal games, you've got a team who's been much more consistent playing a team that has been uneven. And I don't think that bodes well for Oregon. And I'm not saying that the James Madison game has made me think this. I mean, it's just Oregon this year. So, I mean, the dirty little secret is they've been pretty uneven, more so in years past under Dan Lanning, I think. And I'm not sure that gets fixed at this stage. I think that's who they are. So I don't think it bodes too well going into a game against a team that is every bit as good as you. But like we were just talking about with the randomness of games and turnovers and, just different special teams and just different things happening that are just so unpredictable in games. How on earth do you pick a winner between Oregon and Texas Tech? I mean, this is the beauty of lacing them up and just, hey, the better team that day. I think, I don't know what's going to happen in that game, but I bet you we don't come back on the radio after that game and have any idea which of those 2 teams is better. One team will have won the game, but we won't know who's better. They're identical. But my point is Texas Tech has been much more consistent than Oregon this year. I don't love that. Indiana's been much more consistent than Alabama. Ohio State, much more consistent than Miami. And then, like I said, the Georgia-Ole Miss game, you could maybe say Georgia much more consistent than Ole Miss. And I think that we're at that stage of the tournament where it's now going to matter. It didn't matter against James Madison, but it's going to matter against Texas Tech. And I don't know. Oregon, I don't know. I don't know how you feel about it.
I think this is just going to be a dog pound type of game.
Well, it
like
should
one
be.
of those, we're just going to move the ball 13-13 in the fourth quarter. Whoever ends up with the ball in the last 2 minutes is going to win this game.
It should be that way because both defenses are good. I mean, I think Oregon's defense is probably going to get a little motivation off of everyone talking about how good Texas Tech's defense is coming into this game because Texas Tech's defense is awesome. But Oregon's defense is pretty damn good too.
And Oregon's getting a lot of receivers back, so
yeah,
could be a lot of switch up from what we're seeing.
Yeah, well, and I saw it. We'll get into this a little bit later because I want to keep it to what happened this weekend first, and then we'll turn the page and really look at Oregon Texas Tech a little bit. But since you brought it up, I mean, this game it is going to be a war of attrition. The defenses are going to have their day, but you are looking at 2 of the most explosive offenses in college football. And with DeCorian Moore back and Gary Bryant back, maybe even Evan Stewart back, Dante Moore could have a rough game for 85% of the game because that's what Texas Tech does. That other 15%, he is 100% capable, perhaps more capable than anybody in the country, at catching one of those guys, those speedy guys on the outside. You got to hit a couple of those, and they can be game-changing plays. We've seen it already this year from Oregon, and that's what this type of game is. Now, the other thing is, while Texas Tech, I've been lamenting Texas Tech in the red zone. Their red zone touchdown scoring percentage is like 111th. When the field shrinks, they're not very good. However, they scored a lot of touchdowns via explosive plays. The Oregon and Texas Tech are 2 of the most explosive offenses in the country. So it's that. It's like, how do you predict? Okay, not only are the teams fairly even, how the hell do you predict who can pick up an explosive here or there that can change the game? You can't. It's just going to be.
You just can't predict that.
This is so exciting, which is why I think, and again, probably a topic for later, but I believe we are now at that level in the college football playoff where quarterbacks are going to matter more than ever because all these teams have really good defenses. All these teams have great talent all over the field. The cream is rising, and now amongst the quarterbacks, who can separate on the biggest stage? Who can make those game-changing plays? Dante Moore, I'm taking him over Baron Morton any day. The Alabama-Indiana game is fascinating on that level. Is Mendoza the guy or Ty Simpson?
Ty Simpson made a lot of big plays in that game.
That's right. He's capable, but Indiana's a different beast. Their defense is a different beast. Can Ty Simpson, who steps up there? Chambliss versus, I think one of the more underrated quarterbacks nobody talks about is the Georgia kid.
And then you also have Carson Beck, who's
Yep.
an eighth-year quarterback playing against Julian
Sain,
who's never been to where he's playing at right now.
Isn't this interesting? You know,
This is a great matchup.
The quarterbacks at this point. Now, Miami, on the Carson Beck front, Miami didn't really need Carson Beck in that game. He did not play great, but they didn't really need him. They finally figured out they should run the ball, and they did. And they played great defense and had some special teams plays. But Carson Beck, again, you get to now it's the next level up. The Ohio State defense is a completely different animal. You are going to need Carson Beck. You are going to need Julian Sain. You are going to need Dante Moore. You are going to need Mendoza and Ty Simpson. That's why I think this thing's going to be absolutely fantastic. My whole point there, though, is simply that I don't think we should worry too much about the second half against James Madison. Oregon has been pretty uneven this year. That scares me a little bit coming into this game against this Texas Tech front, but we will get to more of that coming up later. Let's look at the other games. Alabama. Boy, has a game ever turned on a dime quite like that? They looked dead early on in that game against Oklahoma. We'll get to that, and Miami, Texas A&M coming up next. But first, we take a break, and you hear his, what's your name again? Chris, John, Barry, Tim, lowercase with sports.
Now, from the George McCoy and Warren Allen Sports Desk, a Sports Center update on the Fan Sports Network, 105.1 FM and 1080 AM.
First on the Fan, the Indianapolis Colts host the San Francisco 49ers in Monday Night Football tonight. San Francisco has already clinched their playoff berth as they sit 2 games behind the first-place Seahawks. 49ers are 5.5-point favorites in this one. They will be without wide receiver Ricky Pearsall, while the Colts will be missing left tackle Bernard Raymond. However, the Colts are going to get a boost to their pass rush as all-pro defensive tackle and former Duck DeForest Buckner has been activated from the injured reserve list. Some more NFL news for you as Pittsburgh Steelers wide receiver DK Metcalf has been suspended for 2 games after an altercation with a fan during Sunday's game in Detroit. Metcalf can still appeal, but he is suspended without pay and could potentially miss Pittsburgh's Week 18 matchup against Baltimore, which could determine the winner of the AFC North. Your Portland Trail Blazers host Cade Cunningham and the Detroit Pistons tonight at 7 p.m. inside the Moda Center. Detroit coming in as 5.5-point favorites as the Blazers will be without Drew Holiday and Scoot Henderson, while Jeremy Grant will be a game-time decision. For more sports scores and stories in 30 minutes, I'm Casey Smith from the George McCoy at Warren Allen Sports Desk. Hurt and missing work? Insurance companies acting like jerks? Don't call your mom. Call George McCoy at warrenallen.com.
Recruiting with Andrew Nemec, Thursday
Okay, before we get back to the playoff games from the weekend, a couple of things came in on the text line about Oregon, Texas Tech, and these are going to be talking points all week and all of next week until the game. One is Texas Tech's strength of schedule, and it's a fair point. I mean, I think that, well, the odds makers have made Oregon a slight 1 or 1.5 point favorite, which on a neutral field, I mean, that tells you all you need to know. The odds makers, they kind of know their stuff, are saying flip a coin, and they'll take action on both sides when they put the spread right there. But then, I'm getting a lot of Duck fans who are like, oh, Ducks by double digits, Texas Tech hasn't played anyone. I think it's fair. Strength of schedule is a big thing. I think Texas A&M was exposed. Now, they're from the SEC, so we have to tread lightly saying they had a really weak schedule. But if you look at Texas A&M, weren't they down 31-0 at halftime at home to an unranked team, South Carolina?
South Carolina.
Yeah, and they won. 31-0, they were losing at home. A&M benefited from not having to play. I think they didn't have to play 5 of the top 6 teams, the other top 6 teams in the SEC. I mean, they got absolutely lucky. Now, give them credit for winning those games. But they were a bit of a fraud, and Miami exposed that. Why I think Texas Tech is not, because you could say the same thing about Texas Tech. They played in the Big 12. The one game they lost at Arizona State, their quarterback got hurt. But they did lose at Arizona State on the road by, I think, 4 points. But why I think Texas Tech is not necessarily a fraud like A&M, even though they played the 68th toughest schedule in the country. Oregon, by the way, played the 17th toughest schedule in the country. Texas Tech 68th. So that is a factor. I mean, it should be something we look at. But the reason it's different for Texas Tech is because they absolutely trounced everyone that they played. So I think they won by more than 21 in all of their games, and their scoring margin was the best in FBS. And if you watch them, or you know anything about them, you know they have dudes,
Dominant
up front.
football.
Dominant
Both sides of the ball,
dudes,
dominant football.
and just players, like just studs, like you can see them. And Texas A&M had some. Texas Tech has more. So it's not just that you played a weak schedule, it's how did you do against that schedule. And unlike A&M, Texas Tech dominated it. So that's one reason. And I'm not saying that doesn't mean that Oregon isn't better than Texas Tech and that will play out in Miami. All I'm saying is tread lightly with the idea that Texas Tech is somehow a paper tiger because they didn't play, Notre Dame or Indiana or whomever. So that's one thing. The second thing is, and this one is interesting, and I know that the odds makers take this into account when they make these lines, but Oregon is still a slight favorite, and that is the game time. They're flying all the way back to the Eastern time zone and playing at noon back there, which is a 9 a.m. game on their body clock. That traditionally has not been good. Early returns in the Big Ten is showing that the West Coast teams, Oregon, Washington, UCLA, USC, who travel back east to play in the Eastern time zone when the game kicks off at 9 a.m. Pacific time, they have not fared all that well. Something to keep an eye on, but I do think, though, that odds makers, they're very aware of this, and they build that into the line. So if you're looking to cash in off of that narrative, I don't know that you could, but it is a factor. And I'm sure Dan Lanning is quite aware of it. I'm not off the top of my head, I can't remember game times this year. Did Oregon have any of those this year where they went? I know they played at Rutgers, but that was I think that was Friday night. And I'm trying to think of other games where they had to go back east. Penn State was not. Was Penn State a 12:30 kickoff back there? Anyway, I'll go look that up.
Minnesota was a night game,
But that was here.
and then
I'm talking about
Iowa.
Yeah, they're in the Midwest though.
Yeah, so I mean that's about as far as they went.
Well, no, they went to Penn State
and Rutgers.
And Rutgers was the night. Look up what time that Penn State game kicked off. I can't remember. But anyway, those two factors were brought up on the text line. I want to talk about those. Very interesting. And it is true. The other thing about Texas Tech is they have a lot of really good analytics these days, and they're not basic. Like Dave Bartu was way out ahead of the curve on a lot of this stuff. A lot of guys were, but Dave Bartu's been doing his stuff for 20 years. And he looks at things like this, and his have evolved over time, as have things like SP Plus, which is Bill Connolly from ESPN. And it's SP Plus is, he calls it a tempo and opponent adjusted measure of college football efficiency. So it's a measure of the most sustainable and predictable aspects of football. If you're lucky or unimpressive in a win, your rating will probably fall. If you're strong and unlucky in a loss, it will probably rise. Okay, this takes into account the exact thing we're talking about with scheduling. He has, Bill Connolly, ESPN, SP+. Ohio State is number 1 with a rating of 32.3. Indiana is number 2 with a rating of 31.5. Interesting to note, Indiana beat Ohio State, and he still has Ohio State better. And then number 3, he has Texas Tech at 31.1. Very, very telling considering their schedule. They have the number 2 offense and the number 3 defense, according to his rating. And then Oregon is 4th at 28.6. Number 5 offense and number 6 defense. Again, reiterating the fact these two teams, by all the measures that you look at, are, I mean, it is absolutely a toss-up. And then if you look at the Sagarin ratings, and I know some people don't like Sagarin, but it's still there, and it's been around for a long time. They have Texas Tech, they have Oregon 4th and Texas Tech 5th, even with the strength of schedule difference. So just saying, tread lightly on the strength of schedule thing. This Texas Tech-Oregon game is going to be a flat-out war, and it may come down to quarterback. It may be the Dante Moore game, man. It really may be the Dante Moore game. Okay, Alabama, Oklahoma. I've never seen a game turn on a dime like that where, I mean, I was texting with a buddy who he had bet on Alabama. He was like, oh, my God, it was 17-0. He was like, this is over. Like,
I was watching it here.
You were here, yeah. It was over. They looked so bad, Alabama. So terribly, awfully bad. And, my God, they rattled off what? Then they outscored them, what was it?
24 unanswered.
Yeah.
24 unanswered. 17-0, then 24 unanswered.
Bro, did not see that coming. Even though I was the one touting Alabama last week, saying I had a hunch about Alabama. Well, I don't know how they did it. I guess it's just that Oklahoma ultimately, and Kalen DeBoer said it, he said, look, we just had to stay with it. We fell behind. We weren't playing well. Just stay with it. And they did. They have the better players and ultimately got the Mateer interception. I thought that was huge. And by halftime, it was a completely different game. I mean, they turned that game around in a quarter. And Oklahoma, I mean, in the end, maybe just not that good. So Alabama, what Alabama's bringing to the table, we'll find out next week when they play Indiana. But that was a nice win. Oklahoma now has blown the 2 largest leads in the history of the playoff. Did you know that, lowercase?
I did not. What was their first one?
I knew you were going to ask me that. And I think it was the Baker Mayfield game, but I'm going to have to go back and check that. Now, I now have a list of things I have to go back and check. But and I do believe that was against Georgia. But they pointed this out on the broadcast. Teams are 28-2 in the college football playoff when leading by 17 or more points. Both of those losses, Oklahoma. So can you trust Alabama moving forward? I don't know. They should be much better. They should play much better, more consistently than they do. Their offensive line should be better than it is. They should be able to run the ball better than they do, but they don't. So maybe Boomer Sooner, not that great. Indiana is certainly a different animal. So maybe the rubber meets the road for Alabama. It's just hard to tell. They're so damn up and down. And then we have Miami, Texas A&M.
I really like that game.
Dude,
I think that's going to be a very sneaky, good matchup.
Oh, wait. Who are you talking about? Ohio State, Miami? I was
the
talking
Miami game.
Yeah, I was talking about Miami, Texas A&M. I'm not looking ahead just yet.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, the one we just watched. And that one, I thought what you were going to say is what I'm about to say, which I thought the Miami, Texas A&M game was oddly compelling. I don't know why. It was crap, but I loved every minute of it. We're going to talk about that coming up next on The Fan.
Who's in, who's out?
Why?
This is the Injury Report, brought to you by Zoom Care. Health on your schedule.
What happened with the finger? And what was that whole episode like for you?
I don't know. You can look online and see what my finger look like if you want. I'm sure they got the details on there. I don't know. My pinky was just like, I put it in my hand warmer. I'm like, why is my pinky not getting cold? I mean, why is it not getting warm? Then, like, I threw Quinshawn like a little route down there. Then it like kind of was a little high. And I was like, dang.
What's happening? Shedeur Sanders hurt his pinky.
Yeah, so apparently he
Okay.
got his pinky like ripped off, like a piece of it is just off.
Okay. I couldn't tell that by what he was talking about, but okay. Tua to the Browns. You heard it here first. Zoom Care, more than 20 neighborhood clinics in Oregon, Southwest Washington. Convenient access to same-day urgent and emergency care. Schedule or learn more at zoomcare.com. So the two things I had to look up. Textures helped on the first one. The Penn State game was 4:30 kick for Oregon. So I'm talking about Oregon going, the West Coast teams going back east and playing essentially a 9 a.m. Pacific time game. It was the Northwestern game. There was a 9 a.m. Pacific kick. So they're in the central time zone in Chicago, but that game was at 11 their time. So Oregon has, I think it's important. for Oregon, since they're going to Miami and having to play a 9 a.m. Pacific time game in Miami. I think it's important that Oregon has been through that at least once. And, in that game, I mean, I guess maybe a little bit of a sluggish start, but they were up 17-0 at half.
They shut them out in the first half.
Yeah, they shut them out. So, it is a thing. I mean, teams have not fared as well west to east playing that 9 a.m. West Coast time game, but that doesn't mean that it will be a factor in this game, but it's just something to be aware of. And then the other thing was I was right that it was the Baker Mayfield Rose Bowl game against Georgia. So Oklahoma has now blown the two biggest. There's only been two blown leads of 17 or more in the history of the playoff where a team lost after having led by 17 or more. And Oklahoma has both of them. One of them against Alabama this past weekend on Friday. And then the other one was the 2018 Rose Bowl, where Baker Mayfield and Oklahoma led Georgia and Jake Fromm 31-14 and lost 54-48 in overtime. And I remember that game. It was bananas. And I was just looking at the box score. Baker Mayfield was throwing to, in that game, Baker Mayfield was throwing to Hollywood Brown, C.D. Lamb, and Mark Andrews, and Dimitri Flowers. That was Oklahoma's receiving corps.
Have you seen who the linebackers were?
In that game? Who would that be?
Roquan Smith
Okay.
and Kenneth Murray.
Yeah. And how did they lose again? Georgia beat them. Sony Michel was the running back for Georgia, and Nick Chubb, the head.
They also had McCole Hardman.
Who did? Oh, wait.
Georgia
yeah,
did.
he played for Georgia. Yeah. That's good stuff. Anyway, Oklahoma lost. All right, where were we? Miami, Texas A&M. I loved it. It was a rock fight. But I got to tell you, guys, I don't know if you guys agree with me on this. There is no ride like the Mario Cristobal ride. I just love it. I just love it. I can't take my eyes off of it. I cannot think of a coach that's this good but also this bad all at once in the history of coaching. In my sports life, I can't think of one that rivals Cristobal. He's got to be maddening if you're a Miami fan, but yet they're really good. I mean, they are. They got dudes like Mario Cristobal won a Rose Bowl at Oregon. He is a good coach, okay? But, oh my God, in the game, I don't know what he's watching. Because, like, for example, in this game, it was windy. It was, you weren't going to be making many kicks. And all he did was settle for field goals. And he kept trying field goal after field goal after field. Dude, go for it. And it wouldn't be all of them, but short yardage. I mean, Jesus, he's the king of surrender punts. And I know he doesn't call plays, but he is the head coach. He can maybe go to the OC who was on the sideline with him and say, listen, hey, maybe we should run the ball. At one point I was looking at that game. I think it was 3-3. And I forget the Miami running back's name, not Tony, but the other guy.
Mark Fletcher Jr.
Yeah, Fletcher. I remember looking at I think Miami went 3 and out and threw all 3 and had to punt again. And I go, why are they not giving it to Fletcher? And so I looked at the box score. He had 11 carries for 85 yards. And they were not giving him the ball. Now, so again, classic Cristobal. I mean, they were trying every which way to lose that game, even though they were absolutely dominating that game. That is Cristobal in a nutshell, and I'm here for it. I'm here for it every time. It happens every time, and I'm here for it every time. And I guarantee you it's going to happen in Ohio State. I think Miami has everything it takes to keep that game with Ohio State close. I'm not impressed by Ohio State's offense. Miami's defense has dudes all over the place. They can run the ball. They have an experienced quarterback. They just have Cristobal. They like sometimes the players overcome the coach, and that's exactly what happened in that game at Texas A&M. And then other times the coach gets the best of them by his dumb decisions. But ultimately, you got to give Cristobal this. In that game, they figured out in the fourth quarter to just hand the ball to Fletcher. And once they did that, whether that was the play callers saying, hey, we need to get back to the basics here, or Cristobal saying that, they figured it out, and it worked. And they got the touchdown, and that's all they needed. But my God, Mario Cristobal was trying to blow that game. Texas A&M Marcel Reed, they almost won it. Well, I guess they almost tied it at the end. And he threw a pick, and
Is it crazy to think that this Miami team might be
No.
one of the most talented
no,
teams?
it's not.
But they
It's
just
not at all crazy to think.
yeah.
They got dudes. You talk about Tony, Fletcher, Carson Beck,
Their entire D line.
their entire D line. Yeah, they got. I mean, they dominated A&M. Like, if you didn't see that game, you'd look at the box score and go, "Oh, what a crap game that was." Dude, they owned them, and that Texas A&M offensive line is good. That was in Kyle Field. Really impressive performance.
on the road is big too.
Yeah, in that environment, really impressive performance by Miami. It's just that my dude, Cristobal, my bro. So I'm here for the Cristobal ride is like no other, and I'm here for it. And hopefully we get another one against Ohio State. That's a good matchup. It really is. That is a good matchup. Now, I don't have much faith in Ohio State's or in Miami's offense against Ohio State's defense.
But their ability to control the ball and take away time of possession from a team
That's right.
has to score a lot of points in order to win.
Well, and against a defense like that, you're going to need playmakers, and they have, Tony, he's awesome. He had a fumble. He's young, but he is a playmaker. So,
And he bounced right back from that fumble too.
Yeah, he did. He did. They're pretty good, man. They're good. They're good on paper, but I don't know. You have faith in old Mario to get it done? I sure don't.
No.
But they're fun. I thought that game was fun. I may be what is the matter with me? What's wrong with me that I thought that game was great? It was 3-3. It was 3-0. It was windy. It was 3-0 in like the late third quarter.
Sometimes the playoff just needs a dog pound game where it's just going to come down to who wants it more.
Yeah, it was a battle. It was attrition out there. And Miami just stuck with it and got it. All right, there's your college football playoff thoughts. We will look forward to Oregon, Texas Tech a little bit more later. But when we return, let's get to the NFL weekend recap. Who was that dude Kansas City threw in there? What is happening? We'll be right back on The Fan.
George McCoy at Warren Allen Sports Desk, a Sports Center update on the Fan Sports Network, 105.1 FM and 1080 AM.
First on the Fan, the Indianapolis Colts host the San Francisco 49ers in Monday Night Football tonight. San Francisco has already clinched their playoff berth as they sit 2 games behind first place, and they are coming into this game 5.5-point favorites. They will be without Ricky Pearsall, while the Colts will be missing left tackle Bernard Raymond. However, they do get a boost back to their pass rush as all-pro defensive tackle and former Oregon Duck DeForest Buckner has been activated from the injured reserve list. Some more NFL news for you as the Pittsburgh Steelers wide receiver DK Metcalf has been suspended for 2 games after an altercation with a fan during Sunday's game in Detroit. Metcalf can still appeal, but he is suspended without pay and could potentially miss Pittsburgh's Week 18 matchup against Baltimore, which could have playoff implications. Your Portland Trailblazers host Cade Cunningham and the Detroit Pistons tonight at 7 p.m. inside the Moda Center. Detroit coming in at 5.5-point favorites as the Blazers will be without Drew Holiday and Scoot Henderson, while Jeremy Grant will be a game-time decision. For more sports scores and stories in 30 minutes, I'm Casey Smith from the George McCoy at Warren Allen Sports Desk. Hurt and missing work? Insurance companies acting like jerks? Don't call your mom. Call George McCoy at warrenallen.com.
Your home for Seahawks football.
Am I bugging you, Ron?
All right, welcome back. Hour 2, where we will turn our attention to the NFL. Quick text on the fan text line, 503-864-6326. I watched Notre Dame the first 2 games. I get it. They lost to both of those teams. But that Notre Dame team that finished at Thanksgiving would have beaten both Miami and A&M second time around, not particularly close. Those teams were both trying not to lose on Saturday. Notre Dame better coached and just better. Too bad the better team didn't get in. Now, I tend to agree with you, and Vegas does too, that Notre Dame would be a favorite over Texas A&M and Miami.
Yes, but
they lost.
Win your conference. Oh, wait. What conference?
Well, yeah, I mean, listen, he's right. Notre Dame is better.
Yeah, they're the better team.
But I would say Miami Notre Dame would be a good one the second time around. I don't know that A&M Notre Dame would. Notre Dame is one of the better teams in the country. They are a top 5 team. I was saying this bracket. Notre Dame is a top 5 team in the country, but I can't sit here and say they deserve to be in the tournament, belonged in the tournament under the current format because they lost those 2 games. That's just the way the cookie crumbles. They are keeping some emphasis on the regular season, and that, I mean, it matters. So, boo-hoo, they didn't make it. But I'm with that guy. Notre Dame, I think Notre Dame is scary if they are in this tournament, but they aren't.
And also, I mean, we did talk about how people thought that Notre Dame should be in over Alabama. Alabama came out and played a good football game, so I don't think that conversation is even very relevant anymore.
Well, yeah, I mean, I don't think those conversations are over. It's over. It's done and toasted. But yeah, I just don't. Notre Dame did not. They lost those 2 games, and that's the end of it. Like I know you're good, but sorry. Who else did you beat after that? I mean, I like Marcus Freeman. I think they're talented. I think they'd have been a handful in this tournament with Jeremiah Love, but sorry, you didn't do enough.
And not playing the bowl game is, I mean,
yeah, they're weak. They looked bad.
That's just soft.
They looked bad. They made themselves look bad after how that all went down. Anyway, moving on to NFL Week 16. It was a week. It was a good week. We were talking on Wednesday, before I left, that this was going to be a fun week. Really good matchups. Of course, I'm sure you guys talked about the Seahawks-Rams on Friday. What a game. Seahawks steal that one. The Jags go to Denver and dominate. And your Steelers are one step closer to winning that division and kind of shutting people up about Mike Tomlin. So we had some significant things, and it was a good week, but the week was really marred by the quarterback injuries. With Lamar going out against New England, Jordan Love got hurt, and that was a huge loss for them. Mariota got hurt. McCarthy got hurt. Your boy Gardner Minshew got hurt. And that dude, do we know who that dude is that Kansas City threw in there?
No.
Never heard of the guy.
Went to South Dakota State.
Is that where he played?
I believe so.
I mean, we do every year. No show prepares you better to understand what quarterbacks are coming in when the inevitably QB1 goes down or even QB2 than this show. We do a backup quarterback game every August, early September, before the season starts. We do a third-string quarterback game where we test Big Sook, our football guy. We test his mettle, and he passes every year, knowing who the backups are. And the backups to the backups, I bet you he didn't even know who this guy was.
This dude's a former Steeler.
Never even heard of him. You didn't even know that. You're a Steeler fan.
Not even a clue.
And
He
by the
was
way,
a 7th-round pick.
How do you pronounce that guy's name?
Chris Oladokin?
I don't know. I wasn't going to watch Tennessee and Kansas City, particularly once he got in there. So I don't know how you pronounce it. But so the week, it kind of got marred by that. And our Christmas games now are going to kind of suck because of that. What do we get? We get Cowboys Commanders, and then who are the commies going to start? Daniels is out. Mariota's not coming back. Josh Johnson going to start? I mean, come on, man. And then you have Lions Vikings, where McCarthy is hurt, so it's probably Brosmer. And again, I give you, come on, man. And then you have Broncos Chiefs, where you're getting this guy whose name we can't pronounce. I mean, damn it. I don't think it's possible for them to flex Thanksgiving games because, well, holidays, plans, and everything. People got a plan. But boy, if they could, they want to right now. And then Saturday, too. I mean, we were supposed to get Ravens-Packers. Well, we are going to get Ravens-Packers on Saturday. But Lamar and Jordan Love are hurt.
And the Packers have to lose 2 games for Detroit to win? Or I believe with that loss, Detroit doesn't have a chance. And
the Packers
Chicago has already locked down that division.
Has Chicago locked down that division? I'm not sure that that's right.
I think they're
just yet.
They're 1 game ahead. So this weekend would be
they split
clinching?
with the Packers. So I don't know. So you're saying Packers may not have much to play for?
Yeah. Especially without their quarterback.
Yeah, I don't know about that.
Because Malik Willis becomes a free agent after this year.
Yeah.
So, I mean, it could be a good run for Malik Willis to prove that he can get a contract somewhere else.
Well, and they both may play. I mean, Love and we shouldn't rule them out yet, but I'm just saying, like, if that's Malik Willis versus Huntley, God, we do get Texans-Chargers on Saturday. That could be good. Should be. But that's really what the week came down to. It's basically, I was looking at the playoff, if the playoffs started today. And so you've got, right now, Seattle would get the bye in the NFC, but there's a lot still left in the NFC West. By the way, you excited to watch Gramps tonight again? Play the Niners on Monday Night Football? Old Grandpa Phil?
I think he's going to sling it today.
What?
Is that crazy?
I think it is.
Is that crazy that I think he's going to go out and maybe throw for 300 and Michael Pittman's going to go hit all of his contract incentives?
I think that is crazy. But that doesn't mean it won't happen.
Crazier things have happened.
Yeah, I would say that. But I don't know, man. Watching Phil last week.
And San Francisco is just good schematically, so.
Yeah. Saleh might get after him a little bit. And I get all the injuries and everything, but I don't know. It could be a good one. Niners need it. I mean, it's a huge game. Colts need it. Niners need it. Could be fun, but I don't know. There was an article today on Yahoo about, are you excited to watch 44-year-old Phillip Rivers? And it was talking about how we're all so excited to watch. I'm not so much. Not after seeing that first performance against Seattle. They almost won, but my God, I think I could throw a better ball than that.
I would say he was heaving and hucking.
Oh, Jesus. Anyway, we got that game tonight. There's a lot still left to unfold in the NFC West. The Niners could still win this. If the Niners win tonight, and then the Niners, I forget who they play next week, they got to win that one, and then they get Seattle at home for the division, essentially. So that said, Seattle right now has the bye in the NFC, and then Denver still has the bye in the AFC. So you would have Houston at New England. These would be the playoff games if the playoffs started today. You would have Houston at New England, awesome. Buffalo at Jacksonville, awesome. And then you have the Chargers at the Steelers. Interesting game.
Kind of like that one.
For you guys? For your Steelers?
I mean, we got milk checked by Lad McConkey the first time we played, but
Did you say milk checked?
milk checked. Lad McConkey toasted us badly. It was a bad game.
When was that? Wasn't that
4 or
long
5
ago.
weeks ago.
Was it? Yeah. It didn't seem like that was that long ago. And then the NFC would be Green Bay at Chicago. They would play again, this one in Chicago. And then San Francisco at Philly. And you would have the Rams at this point, it would be the Panthers. But that could still possibly be Tampa. And the Rams, didn't they lose there? Rams lost at Carolina a couple weeks ago.
Yes, they did.
So, I don't know. It really feels to me like, and I don't know how you rank the teams in the AFC, but it really feels to me like it's the NFC West versus the AFC, right? Like, I don't buy the Eagles.
Not this year.
Yeah, I don't buy the Eagles this year. The Packers and Bears, not the Packers maybe, but it's really the best teams are the Rams, the Seahawks, and a side dish of the Niners. Okay, in the NFC. But the AFC, that thing is wide open. Jags, how would you rank? Jags, Texans, Broncos, Chargers, Patriots, Bills.
I would go Patriots, Jags, Houston, Pittsburgh, Chargers. Just
Well,
because
you
the
missed
Chargers
Buffalo.
have I guess then Buffalo above Pittsburgh, but not above Houston.
Well, I didn't say Pittsburgh.
They're still up there. I'm sliding them in there.
Yeah, the Bills. Okay, so the Bills and the Chargers are going to be about the quarterbacks, right? I mean, like Josh Allen and Justin Herbert got to carry their teams, and they're fully capable of that. I tell you what, this Jacksonville team, they look pretty damn good, dude.
I said it a few weeks ago. I think they have the best linebacker
Yeah.
crew in the league with Devin Lloyd and Olakung, and they're dangerous.
Are the two best teams? No, because the Patriots are better. Okay, are two of the top three best teams in the AFC the Jags and the Texans?
Yep.
And what if I had told you that in week 4 or 3, whatever?
I would
laughed
say C.J. Stroud is the reason for it, and that's not the case.
Dude, it's nuts. Nuts. AFC's awesome. NFC, it's the NFC West. But those would be the playoffs if they started today. And there's a lot still left to shake out, too. A lot of that can change. But the best game of the week was probably, Steelers-Lions, best game of the week? No, Seahawks-Rams.
Chicago was a good game, too. I mean, it was low scoring, but
kind of a rock fight.
It was still a good game.
How did the Seahawks win that game?
I don't know. Impressive. Rashid Shaheed really changed the entire momentum.
That was huge.
I think that's probably the best offseason pickup of the year because he came in there, added a second option, gave you a little bit more help for JSN, and then he also has 2 returned kicks on the year.
Yeah.
That's a big game changer.
It definitely changed. I mean, Sam Darnold threw another effing pick. At that point, it was like the game's over. Like that was their chance to maybe get a couple scores and get this to overtime. No. Sam Darnold rears his ugly redhead again. And then they get the punt return and the game flips. Absolutely unbelievable they won that game. Rams got to be kicking themselves, man. But it was the weekend. It was the Seahawks and the Jags that made statements this week. And the Steelers, to some extent, winning in Detroit, that made statements this weekend. But still a lot left to shake out. All right, up next we have some NFL news today. DK Metcalf suspended 2 games. We'll tell you what he did next on The Fan. All right, in the news is coming up next. Later, where were you when 2000 NBA Finals edition? But first, some NFL news today. DK Metcalf suspended 2 games. He will not play the final 2 games for the Steelers after he had an altercation with that Lions fan that apparently he hates and has had beef with before. So if you didn't see it, Metcalf went over to the sideline where this dude or not the sideline, but like the front row of the seats, where this dude in a blue wig is, well, the guy in the blue wig says that he just said DK Metcalf's full name. And DK hates that. His name is Decalen Zacharias Metcalf. So I don't know if we buy this guy's story.
There's a lot of he said.
Yeah.
He said.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, and I don't know who should we believe? So the fan's name is Ryan Kennedy. He's from Pinckney, Michigan. He said he called Metcalf by his full name, Decalen Zacharias Metcalf, which led to the altercation. Metcalf has a different version of events, claiming multiple derogatory words were used. Kennedy denied using any slurs in a statement released Monday through an attorney. Oh boy, the guy's already lawyered up. Well, Metcalf went over to him, and in classic DK Metcalf fashion, he can't control himself. He grabs the guy and then slaps at his face. So they've now suspended him 2 games for that. I don't know. I mean, you got to be, listen, fans are idiots, and this fan is an idiot, but you got to be better than that. And this is classic DK. So now he's cost himself 2 games and the Steelers 2 games.
And it might be the most important 2 games of the season.
Who they got this week?
Cleveland. So
can't lose, though. If they beat Cleveland,
can't lose game.
Yeah, if they beat Cleveland, they win the division.
Win the division.
If they lose to Cleveland and Baltimore beats Green Bay, then the Baltimore-Pittsburgh game is for the division.
Yep.
That's the way I understand that. So you're right. It is a very important part of the season. You can't be doing this crap. So, man, that guy.
I mean, now you're making Cleveland still has a good defense. They still have Myles Garrett. They still have all-pro cornerback Denzel Ward. And the Steelers have a big receiving core issue. So now you take DK Metcalf, who we went and had to go get in the offseason. It just makes it very worrisome to look at now. How are we going to score points without throwing the ball to a tight end when you have nobody giving those safeties threats over the middle? Or you can just run the ball 40 times.
Well, I know you're a real Steelers fan. I'm not. But I even know that when you play the Browns, you never know, man. It's a divisional game, and I know the Browns absolutely suck rocks, but this is their Super Bowl beating you. And you're right. They have a good defense. The Steelers' offense has looked good the last couple of games, but now DK does something stupid, and you don't have him. It's like, dude, just get out of your own way. So, right, I mean, like back-to-back texts. One text says, there's video that seems to back up what the fan claims. Another one says, dude, that fan is full of crap. Look at the look on his wife's face while DK shoves him. It tells the whole story. I don't know, man. I don't know what was said. I would imagine we'll find out. I mean...
And for as many cameras and microphones
Exactly.
are usually in that building,
that's what I mean.
We're going to hear something.
Yeah. I don't know, man. Yes.
Well, it's just bad because it's another example of, the Steelers now have a more definite chance of ending up 9-8.
Yeah. You're going to Mike Tomlin this thing after all.
And Mike Tomlin is going to get attacked even more. And, wrongfully so, because I believe this is probably one of the worst rosters that we've had in recent years. I mean, recent years we've been bad, but this is not a great roster. And we're expecting Mike Tomlin to do dangerous things with this kind of underwhelming roster.
Yeah. I don't know, man. Hold on to your hat. It's not over yet, baby. My Ravens hanging in there. I'm serious. I still believe John Harbaugh should be fired ahead of Mike Tomlin. I think the Ravens need to fire John Harbaugh. And I get it. Lamar Jackson got hurt in that game last night. Okay, it happens. They had no business losing that game. They were still up 11. 9 minutes left, whatever it was. John Harbaugh can blow anything. Don't clip that. John Harbaugh can blow any lead, is what I meant to say. He can blow any lead. My God, it's unbelievable. So I feel like they need a fresh face in Baltimore. Although that's kind of dangerous because it's like, who is that? Who is that guy? I don't know.
It's the options of, okay, the Steelers do fire Mike Tomlin or Baltimore does fire Harbaugh. Who do you go get? It's not like
That's a tough one.
The market is super, saturated.
I know.
Right now.
You got to know. Well, I mean, look at the coordinators. Cohen has done a great job.
Robert Saleh in San Francisco.
Well, no, I'm saying like the coordinators that have been promoted to head coaches, like Ben Johnson has turned the Bears around. Cohen has done a great job in Jacksonville. Who was the other one I was thinking about this year? I can't remember, but you got to find
Aaron Glenn, obviously the other side of that coin.
Yeah, you know what's funny? The Jets are absolute garbage. I think Aaron Glenn's fine.
I think so too.
I don't think he's the problem. It doesn't seem it.
Again, Robert Saleh wasn't the problem in New York.
Right.
Aaron
And he's
Glenn's
now
not the
back
problem.
as a coordinator. Like D'Amico Ryans was. So you got to. I mean, let's not outthink the room. There's probably a couple of really good coordinators that could step up and really help Baltimore. What if John Harbaugh became the Steelers coach and Mike Tomlin became the Ravens coach? Would they be the exact same as they are now?
I think everyone just we all just meet right at the Mason-Dixon line and just do a jersey swap.
Yeah.
Everyone just hands it
yeah.
over because it's pretty much the same thing.
Yeah, and not all of it is John Harbaugh's fault because Lamar with that hamstring, he's been hurt all year, and when he doesn't run, their offense looks garbage. But the fumbles and just
Derrick Henry's not had a good year.
Dude, there's something up with them. You can tell I'm pissed off because I've lost money on them. Because I have.
I mean, they're a team where every single time you think they're going to seal a game or be the favorite, they just throw it away.
Yeah. Oh, Kellen Moore's another one.
Yeah, Kellen
He's
Moore's
been
a good
pretty
one.
good.
He had a really good run in Dallas, and I think he's kind of struggling right now.
Well, Philly misses him.
Yeah.
And he was the coordinator there, and yeah, he's done a pretty good job with no quarterback in New Orleans. I don't know what you think of Tyler Shuck, but handsome fella, but
not the guy.
Nah, I don't think he's the guy.
Especially when they haven't got. I mean, who's their highest paid player on their offense?
Yeah,
is it still Kamara?
Probably.
And he's had, I'd say, an abysmal year. Like probably the worst we've seen Alvin Kamara, to a point where he's just deciding not to play games on Thursdays.
Well, we looked at it last week. It was the last show Suk and I were together. We had the NFL financial efficiency rankings. I don't know if you were on that show or if it was Schulte, but the Spot Track does that, and it's great. And they basically look at the money you're spending for the production you're getting. And the Saints were like top 6 in the NFL. But their problem is they just don't spend. What they are spending. So Kellen Moore has his hands tied, and he knew he had his hands tied going in there. But he wanted a head coaching job, gets that paycheck. And so the Saints, even though they stink too, he doesn't have any players, but what he does have, he's actually doing a pretty good job with. So there's got to be a hot quarter. I don't know who the hot names are this hiring cycle. I mean, we'll find out, within the next 3 or 4 weeks. But man, there's got to be somebody that can do a better job than John Harbaugh, just blowing games right and left. My God.
And
my God.
Again, they've struggled a lot in the playoffs, too. They got bounced by
That's what I mean.
A Tennessee team to a point where they went and got Derrick Henry, and now they have Derrick Henry, and he's fumbling the ball for him.
Look no further than their whole season was that first game. That Bills game, they went in there. I forget what kind of lead they had. It was a pretty good lead, double-digit lead, and they absolutely dribbled it down their leg. That is John Harbaugh's team. And it hasn't changed.
At one point, they going into half, they led the game 20-13, and then
they were up more than that.
Then they put up 14 in the third quarter. So I mean, they were up by 3 scores going into the fourth quarter.
Yeah. Ravens fans got to be pulling their hair out. All right, coming up next, let's get to in the news. We've got a big jackpot, Timberline Lodge news, and what is it with people driving into floods? That's next, but first, here's Lowercase with SportsCenter.
Now, from the George McCoy and Warren Allen Sports Desk, a Sports Center update on the Fan Sports Network, 105.1 FM and 1080 AM.
Redtail Golf Center's holiday sale is going on now with up to 50% off all your holiday golfing needs. Redtail Golf Center, where we guarantee the lowest holiday prices. Visit us at golfredtail.com. First on the Fan, the Indianapolis Colts host the San Francisco 49ers in Monday Night Football tonight. San Francisco has already clinched their playoff berth as they sit 2 games behind the first-place Seahawks. 49ers are 5.5-point favorites coming into tonight's game, but they will be without wide receiver Ricky Pearsall, and the Colts will be missing left tackle Bernard Raymond. However, the Colts are going to get a boost back to their pass rush as all-pro defensive tackle DeForest Buckner has been activated from the injured reserve list. Some more NFL news for you as Pittsburgh Steelers wide receiver DK Metcalf has been suspended for 2 games after an altercation with a fan during Sunday's game in Detroit. Metcalf can still appeal, but he is suspended without pay and could potentially miss Pittsburgh's Week 18 matchup against Baltimore, which could determine the winner of the AFC North. Your Portland Trailblazers host Cade Cunningham and the Detroit Pistons tonight at 7 p.m. inside the Moda Center. Detroit coming in at 5.5-point favorites as the Blazers will be without Drew Holiday and Scoot Henderson, while Jeremy Grant will be a game-time decision. For more sports scores and stories in 30 minutes, I'm Casey Smith from the George McCoy at Warren Allen Sports Desk. Hurt and missing work? Insurance companies acting like jerks? Don't call your mom. Call George McCoy at warrenallen.com.
The home of Primetime with Isaac and Sue. Weekdays 3 to 7. The Fan Sports Network. 105.1 FM and 1080 AM.
Well, we all love the holidays. Well, most of us love the holidays anyway, and it's a fun time, good time, get together with family, have some libations, some food, gift exchange, the whole thing. We love the holidays, but bad things can happen over the holidays too. So we want you to be prepared. We have some personal injury attorney recommends for you, and they are none other than the Advocates. Injury attorneys can
do it anymore, you're gonna have problems.
All right, welcome back. Good little Monday. It is December 22nd, 2025. It is time now on our show for In the News. I'm your noted and humble newsman. Thank you. Hello. Thank you. Please be seated. All rise. Thank you. Ladies, please. Thank you. It is brought to you by the Advocates, injury attorneys at advocateslaw.com. Today, National Cookie Exchange Day. You know, we were going to have the Stat Badger in here today, Dave Bartu, but he had to cancel. He was bringing cookies. He makes Christmas cookies, that guy.
What type of cookies?
I couldn't tell from the photos, but they looked, I don't know, they looked like sugar cookies.
Is he the type of guy that makes the sugar cookies with the sprinkles on top, or is he a design type of guy?
Let's go take a look. Yeah, they looked all to be the same shape, so I don't think they were designs. I'm going to go back and look at those cookies. You get me intrigued. What were these things here? Yeah, they look like sugar cookies, all of the same shape and no sprinkles even. Kind of lame, really.
So it's all what's in the mix. It's about what's in the mix.
That's right. Well, they're probably not done. It looks like he just pulled them from the oven and he shot me a in-progress photo.
Usually a cookie that has, you know, like a dangerously, like, I'd say aggressive presentation, one that's got a bunch of sprinkles, a bunch of frosting. Those usually the ones that taste
that you
got
to watch out for. Yeah. I feel you. Yeah, these look pretty basic. I'll have to ask him. The Stat Badger ducking us today. It is also Abilities Day, so shout out to you and all of your abilities. Is there something you can do that most people can't? Well, rap. You're a rapper, lowercase.
I have pretty good recall of lyric information. So
now, can you freestyle rap?
I can, on occasion.
Because I find that amazing. People's ability to do that. I could never do that.
It's really just finding a lot of good filler words, because there's a lot of stuff that, obviously, what I like to do if I'm ever doing is have someone throw different words out at you and try to, make a story or do something along that.
Yeah, but you have to do it so quick.
Yeah, but again, that's what I'm saying. There's just a lot of filler words that you find in between, and then all of a sudden you got your stories kind of crafting itself.
Huh. According to lowercase, freestyle rapping, not that hard. It is for this old fella.
It takes a lot of practice, though.
Shortest day of the year yesterday. Things are looking up from here, guys. But more rain. As a matter of fact, my weather app was just telling me that the rain is moving in right now. Is it raining out there, kids?
Do you think we're going to get some snow?
Probably. Snow? Here?
Yeah.
No, it's too warm.
It's
like 50 degrees.
I gotta hope.
What's the matter with you?
I'm hopeful.
You want the white Christmas?
I want a white Christmas.
I moved to Colorado. Fair. Although you go up to Timberline, I guess they had some snow up there. They're finally opening Timberline Lodge, kicking off ski season. I think they said today. Finally, gonna get that bitch open. Oh no, it said it opened for the ski season Saturday with limited beginner terrain. How about that? That's good. That's late. No, I can do without the white Christmas, unless we go all in, like we're in Alaska or something, or Canada.
Again, that's what I mean by a white Christmas. I don't want it just to snow. I want some coverage on the ground.
Yeah, you want the real.
You need to wear sunglasses outside because
I got you.
It's gonna blind me from all the snow.
Yeah. See, if it's gonna, I'm the opposite. If it's gonna snow, give me a nice little dusting in the morning. Makes everything look pretty. I got a photo. I get some coffee going, and then it melts off, and I can go play golf.
See, there you go. It does
stop
the golfing. So there you go.
They're saying more rain this week. As a matter of fact, I was just reading a story here. I've got to tell you, as your noted newsman, and I'm obligated to tell you that KGW is saying that as many people prepare for the holiday week, utility companies and emergency officials in Oregon are warning about the potential for power outages on Christmas Eve. What will Santa do?
Light a candle.
What if he lights his little red suit on fire?
You just got to be careful about, making sure you put the fire out before you go to bed.
Yeah.
Can't have Santa burning up
Santa
in your
needs,
chimney.
I don't know. Does Santa need light? He's going to be drunk. High winds December 24th could be strong enough to knock down trees and power lines. The National Weather Service in Portland reports gusty winds of 30 to 45 miles per hour are expected on December 24th, Christmas Eve. Damn it. You know what sucks about that? all the people that
All the
have
trees?
to, well, but all the people that have to then go work on that on the holiday. You know, like all the PG bros out there.
Yeah.
Because we're sitting there like in our houses going, well, come on, PG. And then, but think of it the other way. It's like they're out there like, this sucks. It's Christmas.
Yeah, I'm trying to be with my family.
Yeah.
Instead, I've got a foot-long tree or a branch
That's
in
right.
my window.
Working for you. Now, that is their job. But are you at all prepared for a power outage? A long power outage? Because I'm not.
No.
I never am. I just hope that it comes back on quickly, and if it doesn't, I suffer.
I live close enough to my parents where I know that they have canned foods that could at least last me for a while. But if it's just me by myself in my apartment, yeah, no, I'm doomed.
We're in trouble.
Big time.
Powerball jackpot tonight. So I guess last time we talked about this, it was like 1.1 billion or something. Remember we were talking about the billboard? There's a billboard on I-5 that keeps me quite up to date on the Powerball jackpot numbers. And I see that it's 1.6 billion tonight. I still didn't buy a ticket, but hopefully you did and you win. What is it?
Good odds if you're in the Northwest.
And why would that be?
Because didn't the last 2 lottery winners come out of Oregon?
Well, no, I was saying that last time. No, not the last 2, but there have been 2 giant jackpots that have been hit in Portland in the last year and a half. So that's why I was asking you then. I was like, are we hot or are we due to be shut out here?
I feel like we might get shut out on this one. If
I
we
think we're
could take
hot.
like a state pool, I'm gonna guess Kentucky on this one.
So we got to fly to Kentucky to pick up our tickets?
Yeah.
Do you ever do that? Do you play the lottery?
No.
Yeah, I don't either. But every once in a while I get roped in by the big jackpot.
I sports bet. I feel like they're already taking enough of my money.
Yeah, right. Yeah, and at least that you have a chance of winning. But I always do, like one time I was in, I think I was going up to the mountain and I stopped at Zigzag. Like I feel like I'm somehow doing better for my odds of winning by picking up lottery tickets
at a
in
random
some
mom and pop
stupid
that
place that
just happens to sell the lottery.
Yes. God, I'm an idiot. Coming up next, what is it with people driving into floods? We have another one on the fan.
This is the Fan's Window into Sports, a view into today's top stories. Brought to you by Window Nation, online at windownation.com.
The ruling on the field is a touchdown. However, pass interference, number 14 on the offense. By rule, that penalty is not enforced, and there is no replay. The game is over. There is no touchdown. OPI on number 14 negates the penalty. There is no replay. The game is over.
The OPI ends it. They even conceded, Gene, that Goff had scored a touchdown. As bizarre as it gets.
Why did they say he didn't need to say the ruling on the field is a touchdown? Like, that was very dramatic.
It wasn't. He didn't cross the plate.
Well, they said it was, but he didn't have to say that because then the crowd's like, we scored. Like, it was so, I don't know. It was done for effect. Stupid refs. Window Nation this month, 50% off all window styles, 0% financing for 5 years. Schedule your free consult at windownation.com. One NFL team is moving to a dome. We will talk about that in our next radio segment.
What?
Yeah. This is in the news, December 22, 2025. We have another person die driving into a flood. This happened in Seattle. We talked about this, I don't know, like a week and a half ago here on In the News. And this one's in Amity. It says here, a 52-year-old man drowned while driving his car across a flooded road at around 7:40 a.m. Friday morning. The driver was attempting to cross Southwest Dijon Road in Amity when he bypassed a barricade and entered high water. After the car got swept away by the water, the man was able to exit his vehicle. However, the driver also got swept away, and they were able to find his body about 30 minutes later via drone. Ultimately got to the point where the car started to float, and the current took the vehicle off the roadway. They saw the occupant get out of the vehicle, and he did not survive. Why do people do this?
We just talked about this.
We did, yes. I feel like it is the flood is the least respected natural disaster. Like, people have no respect for the flood. Why? It's barricaded for a reason.
Why are we trying to mess with Mother Nature?
That's right.
Like, why? Do we think that we're...
She'll kill you.
Again, do you think that you're stronger than a river?
Yeah, like, what do you think? Exactly. Like, what do you think is... Listen, this guy died. That's terrible, and I feel bad for his family, and it's the holidays. But what do you think you're going to do? It's barricaded off for a reason.
Turn around, pal.
It's crazy, man. You know, I asked ChatGPT that question. Let me see if I can pull it up here. I asked them, which weather event do people have the least respect for? Very interesting answer. It is not flood. Can you guess? This is in the United States only. There is the leading weather-related killer in the United States causes more fatalities each year than floods, hurricanes, and tornadoes combined. What do you think that would be? Because we definitely don't respect it. And it kills us all the time.
I can't think of the word, but what's the word when, I guess, a bunch of erosion washes the road away?
You talking about landslide?
Landslides. I guess, but that's flood related.
Yeah, it's not the landslide.
What is it?
Lowercase of Gresham, Oregon. Wait, Lake Oswego?
I'm from Elo.
Yeah. I knew it was one of those two. They're very similar. Lowercase, it is extreme heat. Why are we cheering? Should not cheer extreme heat deaths. But no, and that makes total sense. When it gets super hot, I mean, you remember that 116 degree day?
Yeah.
It wasn't that day, but I think it was like the day before it was 112. We went and played golf.
I think I did too.
Like, what are we doing? And I have a history of overheating. I'm a candy ass.
I don't mind the heat.
Well, I know. I don't either.
I can bear it a little more than I can bear the cold.
And see, that right there, that attitude is
That's what kills us.
Why, yes. I'll be fine. It's hot. I like the heat. I'm good. Yeah. Yeah, so this says the weather event...
More than floods, tornadoes, and...
hurricanes combined. Yeah.
Is that because we have a lot of fires, or is that just because of drought in places?
No, extreme heat is different than fire. Wildfire, extreme, it's just hot. People don't have AC. They don't, they just don't take the right precautions.
Arizona summers.
Yeah. I mean, people die here all the time when it gets super hot.
Yep.
Says the weather event that people tend to have the least respect for relative to its actual danger is indeed extreme heat. It's a silent killer. There's no real urgency to it. It's not like, like the hurricane is coming, it's going to hit your house.
See, that's, again, the relative to the actual danger. That's what gets me. Because,
exactly.
Yeah, the extreme heat, you're not going, all right, I have to board this door up, do this, that, and the other to prepare for it. You're kind of just like, all right, I guess I'll turn my AC up a few degrees.
Well, not only that, most people don't. If you have AC, you're not dying of extreme heat. But I'm just, like, most people they're like, well, it's hot. Like, what am I going to do? I can't get out of it. I can't go somewhere else. It's just hot. I have to deal with it. And then the other thing, too, about extreme heat is vague symptoms. You know, sometimes the symptoms when you're overheating, they're kind of subtle. They're not, you know, it's not like you're drowning.
Especially when a lot of the time to mask the heat, you're doing something, you know, either beverage related or just something to cool yourself down. Whether it's swimming, whether it's drinking, what have you.
Yeah. That's in the news for December 22. Can you believe that? 3 days from Christmas, December 22, 2025.
Has the Christmas spirit hit you yet?
Yeah. Oh, I'm definitely in the Christmas spirit.
I'm like 60% of the way there. I'm
You're
not
not
quite
there.
full Christmas out.
Why? You don't have much time.
I know. I feel like I'm missing something and that I've done in years past, like a tradition that I'm forgetting, and I can't remember what it is.
Wow, you're doing great over there. Yeah, I'm in the Christmas spirit, but I gotta say that I'm not. It is weird. Maybe I'm not in the Christmas spirit.
See,
because
that's what I'm saying.
I
It's
don't
that-
have much of anything done shopping wise, and I kind of am blowing it off. And that's not good. I got my wife something, that's good. But I'm kind of leaving everything else to her, you know, like for the kids and everything. And I shouldn't do that. I'm usually not that bad. This year I am. I don't know why. You're on your own. Like my brother asked me, he's like, "What does this person want?" I'm like, "I don't know. Ask Nurse Nice." "What does this person want?" "I don't know. Ask Nurse." You know, that's not very good of me. So maybe I'm not in the Christmas spirit. Bah humbug. I feel like I'm in the Christmas spirit. I love Christmas, man. It's just come so fast this year.
I know, it feels very abrupt.
Everything's so fast. Like floodwaters. It's brought to you by the Advocates, injury attorneys at advocateslaw.com. Yes, an NFL team is moving to a dome. We will get to that next in headlines, and then we'll take a look at Oregon, Texas Tech. Also, next hour, a Where Were You When 2000 NBA Finals edition segment we'll do. It is Isaac. We've got lowercase Casey Smith with us here on 105.1 The Fan.
$5,000. That's the average amount of money people in the
Now, from the George McCoy at Warren Allen Sports Desk, a Sports Center update on the Fan Sports Network, 105.1 FM and 1080 AM.
Red Tail Golf Center's holiday sale is going on now with up to 50% off all your holiday golfing needs. Red Tail Golf Center, where we guarantee the lowest holiday prices. Visit us at golfredtail.com. First on the Fan, the Indianapolis Colts host the San Francisco 49ers in Monday Night Football tonight. San Francisco has already clinched their playoff berth as they sit 2 games behind the first-place Seahawks. 49ers coming into this game are 5.5-point favorites, but will be without wide receiver Ricky Pearsall, while the Colts will be missing left tackle Bernard Raymond and cornerback Sauce Gardner. However, they do get a boost to their pass rush as all-pro defensive tackle DeForest Buckner has been activated from the injured reserve list. That game will kick off here in just a few seconds. Some more NFL news for you as the Pittsburgh Steelers wide receiver DK Metcalf has been suspended for 2 games after an altercation with a fan during Sunday's game in Detroit. Metcalf can still appeal, but he is suspended without pay and could potentially miss Pittsburgh's Week 18 matchup against Baltimore. Your Portland Trailblazers host Cade Cunningham and the Detroit Pistons tonight at 7 p.m. inside the Moda Center. Detroit coming in as 5.5-point favorites, as the Blazers will be without Drew Holiday and Scoot Henderson, while Jeremy Grant will be a game-time decision. For more sports scores and stories in 30 minutes, I'm Casey Smith from the George McCoy at Warren Allen Sports Desk. Hurt and missing work? Insurance companies acting like jerks? Don't call your mom. Call George McCoy at warrenallen.com.
Sports Saturday with Joe Fisher and Rashad Taylor.
All right, welcome back. Hope you're having a nice little Monday. Good to be back in the saddle here. It is me, Isachi, one half of your sportsman. Here, Big Souk will be on tomorrow. We will reunite together on Friday, January 2nd. That'll be the next time you hear us together. We've got lowercase Casey Smith in today, and we are partying. We are going to take a look at Oregon, Texas Tech coming up. We will look at the team that the Blazers are commemorating tonight, the 2000 NBA Finals team. And in the club, we have the top pop culture moments from 2025 you already forgot about, and the most iconic Christmas movie characters. I also would like to squeeze in something quite selfish. I'm going to see what everyone thinks of my survivor dilemma for Week 17. It is me and 7 others competing for, I think, about $22,000, somewhere in there. And Week 17, it gets wild because there are not a lot of teams left any of us can use that are surefire wins. So we'll get to that if we have time. A couple of headlines for today in sports. As we mentioned, DK Metcalf suspended 2 games for his altercation with that fan. Notre Dame and USC will not play, as the Irish have scheduled BYU. They've scheduled a series with BYU, so that knocks USC off of their schedule. I gotta say, I know I'm probably in the minority here, and I'm okay with that. I do not care if Notre Dame USC goes away, and I also don't really care all that much that rivalries as we know them are going away. I am more of a guy who likes to see sports evolve, in the evolution and the change. I think is more interesting than playing the same game over and over. And that's coming from a guy who I am in I was at one time in the throes of one of the most heated rivalries in all of college sports, and that is Kansas v. Missouri. And when all the conference shifting happened and Missouri went to the SEC, it all went away. Now they've kind of brought some of those games back. They do play in basketball now, but those games, I'm telling you, man, that was as heated a rivalry as you could get in the country, and I kind of didn't care that it went away. It's weird. I'm weird. I don't understand why.
Rivalries evolve. Like, I think of, in terms of what rivalries we still have left in college football or just college sports in general, it's the in-state matchups.
Duke,
The teams
Duke, North
playing,
Carolina.
the teams playing their other state, representative, and it's teams that see each other a lot in playoff scenarios. Like, I think right now, Ohio State, Oregon has more rivalry implications than a lot of games do, just because they've seen each other a lot in recent years.
3 games? 1, 2, 3. Yeah, just 3.
And but all of them having major implications too. I think that makes more of a rivalry than I think a lot of what we're seeing right now.
I don't know if it constitutes a rivalry in the sense, the original sense of the term, but I see what you're saying in that I think as a fan, if you're an Oregon fan, you may get more excited to play Ohio State than you would Oregon State or even Washington.
Exactly.
Yeah. I mean, I just, it's never bothered me. I get why it would bother someone who wants the tradition, and I think it's cool that Ohio State Michigan matters even if one of the teams sucks. I like that. But not all rivalries are Ohio State Michigan. I mean, some of them, it's like no one really cares outside of the region. And so the USC Notre Dame, it's a good one, but at the same time, I have no problem with it going away. And hey, how cool is Notre Dame BYU? It's a good little ball game.
Yeah, it's not a bad game.
Good little ball game.
I think it's more conducive to the style of football that both teams play, and it'll probably just be a better matchup.
Yeah. Bobby Petrino is leaving Arkansas. He is going to be the offensive coordinator with Bill Belichick at North Carolina, which is actually a really good get for Belichick. Petrino, I mean, he can coach offense. And as I teased, it is the Kansas City Chiefs relocating to Kansas. How do we feel about this? Well, no one probably cares up here. But out there, it was this big battle between Missouri and Kansas. Again, there we go with that rivalry. They were fighting over the Chiefs. Well, Kansas stepped up and paid the monies. It is $1.8 billion of this deal is coming from the public, which is the largest public subsidy ever for a U.S. sports stadium. So that's why the Chiefs are saying, sayonara, Missouri. We're moving across the border. Now, for those of you, and it's probably all of you, who don't know how Kansas City is laid out, most of what you know of the city of Kansas City it's like downtown, midtown, Westport. Any place you've been in Kansas City is likely on the Missouri side. Most of it is on the Missouri side. And then if you go way east out toward, heading towards St. Louis, way out on the outskirts is where the Royals and the Chiefs and Arrowhead Stadium, that's where they play, way out there. It's in Independence. Well, now, because of this deal, they're moving all the way to the way outer west side of Kansas City. Now, Kansas City, Kansas, the Kansas City on the Kansas side is garbage. You don't want to go there. You don't go there. Don't go there. So they're never going to put anything there, the city part of it. So that's crap. But you go way out west, out towards the all-American city of Salina, Kansas, and you get, and I'm not saying that far, I'm just saying like the outskirts of Kansas City west on the Kansas side, it's Wyandotte County. They already have a NASCAR track out there. I think there's a casino out there, and they have an amphitheater. So they're really building this area up, and that is where they're going to put this stadium. Now, they're saying it is going to be a dome. Of course, that will likely be a retractable roof, but one of the reasons, and they expect this to be done by 2031, or at least that's what they're shooting for. It's going to cost a total of $4 billion. One of the reasons they would build a dome is they want to get the Super Bowl. And of course, you're not hosting a Super Bowl in February in Kansas without having a dome or at least a retractable roof. So it'd be weird to see the Chiefs not play at Arrowhead. That place is awesome. And I'm not a Chiefs fan, having grown up there. People ask me all the time, why are you not a Chiefs fan? I'm a huge Royals fan. Grew up there. Was never a Chiefs fan because our family is from Texas. My mother is from Fort Worth. She went to UT, and so we'd always go, for the holidays at Christmas, we'd go down and see Grandma and Grandpa in Dallas. Or they lived outside of Fort Worth. And my God, the Cowboys. I mean,
That's cowboy country.
Cowboy fever, man. It just took me over as a kid. Grandma loved all the white guys on the team. You know, Billy Bates, all the white guys. She loved the Cowboys, and that got me until they hired Barry Switzer. And I cannot handle Barry Switzer. Now, you're too young to remember this. This was the olden days, lowercase. But Barry Switzer coached at Oklahoma. And we in Kansas hated Oklahoma. And he was a cheater, and we hated him. And they won a lot, and they kicked our ass. And so we hated Barry Switzer. So then the Cowboys hired Barry Switzer, and I was out on the Cowboys. But did not jump over to the Chiefs. Now, my brother is a Chiefs fan. But I never was a Chiefs fan. I was a Cowboy fan for a while, but that has not stuck with me. So I have never really had an NFL allegiance, even though I love to watch NFL football. I will say, though, that is going to be very strange watching the Chiefs not play at Arrowhead, because that stadium is awesome. Those fans are awesome. It is so loud in there. It is a way of life there with their tailgates and everything, and the cold weather. It's going to be odd.
Missouri just really got a bad deal by the NFL this past decade.
Well, what?
St. Louis.
Oh, the Rams, yeah.
I mean,
well, listen, you got to step up to keep your team.
Yeah,
Sorry,
I guess.
Missouri, you ninnies. We'll take them. Bring them over here. We got the cash anyway. Screw them.
Yeah, I feel bad for some of the Missouri fans who are like, why are you consistently taking football out of my city and moving it away? But
this is an interesting one where it's like they're not leaving Kansas City.
You're not going far.
They're not going far. So I looked at it today from where I grew up, going all the way out to Arrowhead on the other side of Kansas City, east side, was about 2 hours, 45 minutes to 3 hours. Where they're going to put the stadium, this new stadium, is about 2 hours and 15 minutes. So, I mean, it's like if the Seahawks moved their stadium 30 to 45 minutes.
It's like if we put a stadium in Hillsboro.
Yeah, for Portland, you mean?
Yeah, for Portland.
Yeah, so it's like that. So the Chiefs fans will remain Chiefs fans, but now all those ninnies have to come over to Kansas, pay our taxes. That's right. Anyway, I have one other note for you, sports note. It's a big one. The Mariners, the final piece is in place. Rob Refsnyder headed to the Mariners on a 1-year deal. Do you know who Rob Refsnyder is?
I do not.
Yeah, I saw you going straight to your mouse.
Going right
Google.
to the Google machine.
Yeah, I don't know. You don't need to know. He's I don't know. Played for the Red Sox. He's a backup outfielder, first baseman. They get him on a cheap deal. He can hit a little bit. He was a former 5th-round pick of the Yankees. They thought a lot of him coming out of the draft, but he hasn't done anything. And he's like 34 now, but classic Mariner move. They get Rob Refsnyder. So those are some headlines, things going on in sports today. Coming up next, let's do a quick look ahead on Oregon, Texas Tech on The Fan.
The
Lowercase just pointed something out. First of all, what do we think of the Colts uniforms tonight? They're all blue with black helmets.
I don't like them.
Yeah, it's kind of weird. Niners with the classic gold pants, white jerseys. They look great.
I just don't know if I like the black on the uniforms. I think I'm just so used to seeing the traditional white and blue.
Come to my side, young man. I'm the old man yelling at the clouds about black jerseys in sports. I hate them, especially when they're not. Like, some teams wear black.
Like Steelers, that's our color.
Right. But why? Yeah, like, I mean, like, it drives me crazy when Oregon wears black. Like, what are you doing? Anyway, Colts uniforms, weird tonight. Monday Night Football just underway. Colts Niners. But he pointed out that Phillip Rivers, they showed they showed the I don't know, the skybox where the Rivers family is hanging out for this game. And Phillip Rivers can field an entire offense of just him and his kids.
He could run different packages, too, because he's got one off the bench.
Yeah, so he's got... I mean, the grandkid's a little young, but you could throw the grandkid out. He has 10 kids. He can play quarterback. You have an entire offense, and then, yes, he can run different sets with bringing in the grandkid.
Again, the O-line might not be very strong up front, but he can still sling it.
My God. Can you imagine having 10 kids?
No.
What are we doing?
I could barely imagine one.
Yeah, you just wait, lowercase. What are you, 24, you say?
24.
Yeah. You just wait. All right. Yeah, be prepared to be exhausted.
I'll start drinking coffee now.
Yeah. You don't drink coffee, huh?
No, I do not.
Really?
I've been
this big souk.
I've been good about not drinking coffee, but every once in a while I will have the occasional Red Bull, which is just terrible for you.
Yeah, you're from that gen.
Yeah.
Red Bull is awful. I think all those drinks are awful. But then again, I drink coffee like it's going out of style. So
yeah, again,
it's all awful.
Teach their own.
Yeah. Well, anyway, let's get to a little Oregon-Texas Tech talk. It's here. Never a doubt. James Madison. And I said earlier in the show, worth repeating, I didn't put too much stock in the James Madison game no matter what. I mean, short of JMU coming out there and dominating Oregon, we just knew that wasn't going to happen. So Oregon rolled them. Back door was open. Oregon had every incentive to lay off and just get to the next game. They didn't need to run up the score, style points, or anything. Meanwhile, James Madison had, it's like they're super. Sometimes you kick a team's ass and they roll over, they lay down, and you can just score whatever you want. You call off the dogs and the game kind of ends right there. What was it, 48-13 or whatever? But James Madison, this was their college football playoff game. This was their Super Bowl. They were never going to lay down and quit. And so the second half wasn't great. I know it pissed off Dan Lanning, but I don't put that much stock in it. I'd be saying the same things about Oregon had they won 65-6 or whatever.
Yeah, but it's also that that you're going to have to play 4 quarters going into this Texas Tech game. I think that's the big takeaway.
No question.
Is you're going, okay, yeah, we stomped on them for the first half, and that third quarter was okay. But, I mean, we really need to play 4 quarters if we're going to beat Texas Tech. And that's just not what happened.
Has Oregon... No, but again, Oregon hasn't done that really all year, if you think about it.
I'd say Penn State was the only game, but even then they had a tough first half.
I don't know, man. They kind of tried to blow that game.
Yeah.
They did. Listen, they're a really good team, but they've been uneven all year. If you think about it, they've been uneven all year. I'd say the Rutgers game was probably the one game where I was like, oh, and that was coming off a loss and they smoked them. But
maybe that or Minnesota, but yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. These teams are what they are at this point. They're not going to change. I mean, you can play better, but I just feel like if you're expecting Oregon to not be a little uneven at this stage, you're setting yourself up for just disappointment because that's what they've been this year. That's what Alabama's been, and look what look what happened to Alabama. They were flat and terrible, but then turned it on. I mean, it doesn't mean you can't win. It's just kind of part of their DNA this year. It's weird, and it's unusual because we haven't seen this with Dan Lanning teams before. But this team, remember, a little younger, and just now getting some injury pieces back on the outside. So I would expect them. You're right that they have to be better against Texas Tech. We know that, and they know that. They've said as much. So let's just move on and get ready for that one and lace them up. It's a great matchup. I don't know how on earth you pick the game. It could go either way. And when you get into one game scenarios where it's a one-off and the spread's about even, weather's not going to be a factor. Like, how do you predict turnovers? How do you predict the ball bouncing one way or the other way? You don't. It's just you don't know.
And Dante Moore's he hasn't really been tested in a playoff sense of the way. I mean, again, he's 20 years old. How much experience are we expecting him to show?
Well,
versus,
it's a good point. We were talking about this last week. I think it was Dylan Gabriel had like 65 starts. Dante Moore, we forget, has only had 18, and I think that was his 19th. He is relatively inexperienced. He said that in the Iowa game, that was the first time he had ever had to administer, at any level of football that he had played, a game-winning 2-minute drive. He'd never had to do that, and he did it. I would say the way he played at Penn State, late in that game at Penn State, that was a glimpse of the Dante Moore you hope will step up in this game, because you are going to need that. I think this matchup is freaking awesome, because now both teams are excellent. No, Texas Tech hasn't played the schedule that Oregon has, but they've pummeled everyone they've played. They are number one in scoring margin in FBS. They have outscored their opponents 552 to 142. They have won by 21 or more in every game except the one that they lost, and that was Arizona State, and their quarterback got hurt. And that was on the road. 4-point loss on the road.
4-point loss.
So, and you're due a dud. Oregon certainly had a dud.
Alabama had a few.
Yeah, every team has. I mean, who hasn't?
Indiana's literally the only team that hasn't had a dud.
Didn't have
and
one.
It's because they've just played perfect as a team.
So it comes down to Oregon's offensive line and how it can hold up against the elite defensive front of Texas Tech. I mean, they're unbelievable. They're number one against the run in college football. They led FBS in total quarterback pressures. They pressure on 39% of defensive snaps, and this is without blitzing. They rarely blitz. So they just rush for, and they get after you 40% of the time. David Bailey has 74 pressures by himself. That is by far number one in college football this year. The next best guy is at 61. So their defensive front, it cannot be argued, it is not a product of a poor schedule. They have dudes, and they are going to be nasty. This is a big-time matchup for Oregon's offensive line, which is very good. But I think the Dante Moore thing is so interesting because, my God, I favor Dan Lanning over Joey McGuire. First of all, if you don't know Joey McGuire's history, he's a high school coach. Mm-hmm. Very good coach. He's done a good job with Texas Tech. But, I don't know, Lanning greater than Joey McGuire. So there's one thing. But I think when you look at the quarterbacks, this could be the Dante Moore game. I mean, you want some Dante Moore draft buzz. It's not really there yet. This is the game that can crank that up because he is going to be under pressure. He is going to have to handle that. And with the speed on the outside that Oregon has back now, Oregon, they're the number one explosive play offense in college football. So you could get your ass kicked for 80% of the game. The other 20%, you're hitting some big plays. Oregon, that's how Oregon might win this game, and that is going to go a long way for Dante Moore's, the hype, whatever you want to call it, what people are saying about Dante Moore. I think a lot of and it's not just Dante Moore, I feel like a lot of the quarterbacks in the quarterfinals here are going to make themselves or cost themselves a lot of money right here.
I think you're 100% right. Again, you look at the rest of the matchups, Miami and Ohio State. You have Carson Beck versus Julian Sain.
Big.
Carson Beck outplays Julian Sain. It looks really good for Carson Beck, but it also looks really bad for Julian Sain.
Yeah, and Sain could step up.
100%. He could deliver a game that goes, oh, maybe we should have talked to this guy more.
Right. Ty Simpson, same way. Although he's already kind of been costing himself money. But he stepped it up in the OU game.
Again, 24 unanswered points is your quarterback managing a game, finding his talent, and just carving.
And they don't...
I know they got a lot of breaks with their defense and, that punt block, but he still managed a really great game.
They needed him because they don't run the ball. Mendoza, he's going to be tested. he's going to have to step up. Gunnar Stockton, the kid from the Chambliss, the kid from Ole Miss, all of them. I think it's a great quarterback. These are great quarterback matchups. And I think when you get to these elite levels where there's just excellent players on pretty much every unit in these games, for the most part, the Tulanes are out of there, the JMUs are out of there. I think it comes down to quarterbacks more than ever, and this could be Dante Moore's moment right here. So here's the explosive play stat. So Texas Tech's offense, so we talk about Texas Tech's defense. It's awesome. But their offense, I mentioned this on the show before, but they are 111th in red zone touchdown percentage. They stall out in the red zone. They had to settle for 11 field goals in the two matchups against BYU. But what they do is they score by explosives. So the interesting stat is that Texas Tech has 6.4 more explosives on offense than it allows on defense. That is number 2 in the country, behind Oregon, who is 7.6 more explosives on offense than they allow on defense. So both of these teams have very good defenses, but both are very explosive offensively. I mean, this could be a wild affair with really great defense being played, at times a slugfest, and then all of a sudden 75 yards, game changer.
Yeah, it's going to be a lot of let me control the ball, big punch in the mouth.
So it will be really interesting to watch Dante Moore. Now, the kid, Baron Morton for Texas Tech, I've only watched him a few times. Fine, can hit some guys. I don't know. Outside of just staying disciplined and the explosives, I don't know how much Texas Tech offense is worrying Oregon's defense. As a matter of fact, I think Oregon's defense is going to have a huge chip on its shoulder in this game because all they're going to hear about is freaking Texas Tech and David Bailey and all these bros, Rodriguez and all these guys. So, I expect a really good game from the Oregon defense. I expect a really good game from the Texas Tech defense. And it will come down to things it always comes down to: turnovers, penalties, key third downs, red zone, kickers, bad breaks here and there, special teams. I mean, I love it. I absolutely love it. Oregon's the slight favorite. I think 1.5. It's in Miami, so there's that game time thing. It would be a 9 a.m. Pacific kick. That's not that good for Oregon. Teams in the Big Ten that have had to, the West Coast teams in the Big Ten that have had to travel east and play at 9 a.m. Pacific time, they have not fared all that well. But Dan Lanning has done that already once this year, the Northwestern game, and he is well aware of that. So I can't wait. The only thing I'm pissed about is it's not this weekend. We don't have anything this weekend. I guess we got week 17 in the NFL. We have no college. Nothing. That's bullsh, lowercase.
That's a little bit of a bummer.
They're just dragging this thing out.
I think too much.
Way too much. It's crazy. Anyway, that'll be in Miami on New Year's Day. You'll wake up all hungover, ready to watch the Ducks and the Red Raiders. I don't know how you predict that one. I do think Alabama might have a little something, and that Indiana game will be good. I think Miami has a little something to make that Ohio State game pretty good.
I think Alabama coming back from down 17 shows you that this Alabama team isn't going to go away.
No, that's
Make
right.
sure to keep your eyes peeled.
And they've got a lot of talent. I just feel like, as I said earlier, I feel like their offensive line should be better. I feel like they should be able to run the ball better. Indiana's awful good, but
they ran the ball fine against Oklahoma, obviously after the first few series. But yeah, you're right. They just don't run the ball very well.
We're just thinking of the old Alabama, where they just pound you. They just don't. This team doesn't do that. But dangerous nonetheless. This is going to be great quarterfinals. All right, where were you when? Coming up next. Here's Casey.
Now, from the George McCoy and Warren Allen Sports Desk, a Sports Center update on the Fan Sports Network, 105.1 FM and 1080 AM.
First on the Fan, the Indianapolis Colts host the San Francisco 49ers in Monday Night Football tonight. San Francisco's already clinched their playoff berth as they sit 2 games behind the first-place Seattle Seahawks. 49ers are 5.5-point favorites in this one, as the Colts have gotten out to a 7-0 lead early in this one, but the Niners are driving down the field. Some more NFL news for you as Pittsburgh Steelers wide receiver DK Metcalf has been suspended for 2 games after an altercation with a fan during Sunday's game in Detroit. Metcalf can still appeal, but he is suspended without pay and could potentially miss Pittsburgh's Week 18 matchup against Baltimore, which could determine the winner of the AFC North. Your Portland Trailblazers host Cade Cunningham and the Detroit Pistons tonight at 7 p.m. inside the Moda Center. Detroit coming in as 5.5-point favorites, as the Blazers will be without Drew Holiday and Scoot Henderson, while Jeremy Grant will be a game-time decision. For more sports scores and stories in 30 minutes, I'm Casey Smith from the George McCoy at Warren Allen Sports Desk. Hurt and missing work? Insurance companies acting like jerks? Don't call your mom. Call George McCoy at WarrenAllen.com.
The home of the firm of Harris and Marie.
Yeah, the Blazers are playing the Pistons tonight, and they're commemorating the 2000 team that went to the finals and lost to the Lakers in 7 games. And you may ask, well, why would they commemorate that team? Well, because they were awesome. And it was probably one of the top 3 most memorable moments in Trailblazers history. Now, it wasn't the best moments because they blew it. Did you know that, lowercase? They blew it in the 4th quarter.
I did know that.
Do you know the story of all this?
I don't know the story.
Were you a little baby at this time?
Oh, I wasn't. I was still.
Oh, that's right.
A growing egg.
Yeah, we talked about that. So you were born in 01.
01, September of 01.
Yeah. Well, I moved here in January of 2000. Oh, that's a fumble. Niners 7, Colts 7, and the Colts just fumbled the kickoff.
You're like 3 seconds ahead of me.
And I'm sorry for that. Because Suk and I always fight about that in here. His TV is ahead of mine or mine's ahead of his, and it really jams the other of us up. Anyway, yeah, I moved here in January of 2000, and I remember where I was for that game, and I didn't care about the NBA, didn't care about the Blazers. I was new to town, didn't know where to go. I think the reason I went to this place is because I was working that night, and I had a job at that hotel right there on the water at Jansen Beach. Then it was a DoubleTree, I think. And you guys are going to have to help me with this, but on Jansen Beach, over by where there's now a Target, and I think a Duluth Trading Company, there used to be a bar right there. And I can't remember what bar it was. It was a chain. It wasn't because there's a BJ's on Jansen Beach, but it was another one like that. And I cannot for the life of me remember the name of the bar, but I think it's right where that Duluth Trading Company is now. Anyway, they were known because they had the little the TVs in the booths at that time that was like cutting edge.
Is it the barbecue spot?
What's the name of it?
Boomers.
Is that there now?
It's there now.
Yeah, no. This was in 2000, dude. This is like, it's long gone. But I just can't remember the name of it. Maybe Damon's? Somebody said Damon's. It might have been a Damon's. I think that's right. Anyway, I went to Damon's. I'm like, I got to go watch this game. I can't remember if it was before or after work. Anyway, I went in there, absolutely jam-packed. I got caught up in the fun of it. High-fiving Blazers fans. You know, dude, this is awesome. I'm bright-eyed. I'm in a new city. I'm on the West Coast. All of a sudden, the NBA's getting its hooks in me, and then they blew the 4th quarter. 31-13, I think it was. We all remember. We don't need to rehash that. But I do think it's good that they are commemorating that team. That team was awesome. We all believe if they hold on in the 4th quarter, they win the NBA Finals. Wasn't meant to be. But that was certainly a where were you when sports moment. And I'm sure for a lot of you, that is the single most painful sports loss of your life. I know I have a few. Do you have a few single painful sports losses, Sparky?
I've got a few. Most of them
Steelers
involve Tom Brady.
He ripped your heart out multiple times, didn't he?
So many times.
What's what? If you had to name one.
The Jesse James catch. Really.
Refresh my memory.
So that was the one. Big Ben drove down the field in the 4th quarter. There's about 17 seconds left. And touchdown over the middle to Jesse James. They go under review.
Yeah.
And
right.
He turns and loses control of the ball as his hands cross the goal line. And
he scored.
They rule it incompletion.
We think that was a score, though, yeah?
Yeah. Well, the Patriots went on to win the Super Bowl that year. So.
Oh,
yeah.
man. Yeah, okay. Yeah, I remember that. The Jesse James, that was very controversial.
There's also, not last year's, but the year before, watching Freddie Freeman just absolutely destroy my Yankees for 4 games straight.
Yeah.
That wasn't very fun.
Yeah, didn't he hit a walk-off granny in the first game?
In the first game.
Yeah. Yeah, a couple people. So text yours, 503-864-6326. Where were you when the Blazers lost to the Lakers in the 2000 NBA Finals, and what is the single most painful sports loss of your life? Somebody already has mentioned the New England Seahawks Super Bowl, the Butler interception. Dude, it doesn't get much worse than that.
That's a tough one to live down.
Yes. Brutal.
You can smell it.
Would you rather lose like that, or like the Blazers did in the 2000 NBA Finals, where it's a slow bleed of death.
A slow bleed of death sounds worse. That
I
sounds
think
way
so.
worse.
I don't know, dude. That Butler. I mean, they won that game.
Yeah.
We threw. I mean, it's still unbelievable that he even threw a pick there. They even threw it there. That's even unbelievable. So the ways, like, they just absolutely blew it. Where the Blazers, that was over the course of a full quarter. It was harder to watch, probably.
Again, it's the difference of losing your hope, like, over time versus it just being
fading,
ripped away in a single
fading.
moment when all the emotions are at the very high.
Hope is fading, but maybe fading. Oh my God, alley-oop dunk to Shaq really faded? Or just like, oh my God, we won. Oh my God, we lost! I don't know. That's a good question, actually. I don't know which is worse.
Yeah, because I bet like New England. That's why I feel like New England fans are so spoiled, because the way that they've won games too, where it's, oh, you think that you're gonna lose this game because Russell Wilson's driving down all the way down the field, and all of a sudden, oh my gosh, we won.
I remember Tom Brady's face. Remember that? Like the look on his face, like, oh,
yep,
like he thought they'd lost.
Richard Sherman's face gets makes me hurt a little bit inside, because you just see his soul leave his body.
Oh, here's one. Gonzaga alum, when Adam Morrison and the Zags blew that huge lead against UCLA. Boy, that's a good one.
What UCLA team was that?
That's a good question, which UCLA team that would have been. I'm not sure. But Adam Morrison and Gonzaga, like, Adam Morrison was awesome. I wanted the Blazers to draft him. I was like, dude, this guy's amazing. Everybody loved him. Draft the stash. And
that was 06.
So who was on UCLA?
Aaron Aflalo and Luka Mbamute.
Yeah, okay.
And Jordan Farmar.
Yeah, but that one, I mean, Adam Morrison, I remember the pictures of him, or the videos of him sitting on the court crying after the game. That team was awesome. He was awesome. The Tuck rule coming in on the text line. Raiders losing to the Bucks in the Super Bowl. That from Brandon.
That was Gruden?
Let's see. That was not. Yes, of course that was Gruden, right? Because the Bucks won the Super Bowl.
That was the 01 team, correct?
Yeah, the Patriots beat the. Oh, I think he's saying it's two different things. He's saying the Tuck rule game, which was the Patriots beating the Raiders, and then also them losing to the Bucks in the Super Bowl. It was Raider fan, obviously. I was in my Bellingham college house during the Blazers meltdown. All Seattle roommates. I was throwing S and kicking things. Had to leave the house and go to work. Ooh, all fuming.
Having to go to work after
that's the worst.
That hurts.
Oregon, Auburn. Michael Dyer was down. My worst loss, this is from the text line, is the Titans losing to the Rams and the Super Bowl coming up 1 yard short. Yes, that's right.
The Dyson play.
That was one of my all-time sports locks. I was sports betting all the way back then, and I was sure that the Titans were covering 7 points. I loved that bet so much. It might even to this day be the biggest bet I've ever placed. And it ended in a push because they lost by 7. They were 7-point underdogs, but they almost tied it there at the end. That game was amazing. I still feel like I was right about that bet. Even though I didn't cash it, I was like, yeah, like Eddie George, Tennessee, they were good.
A push on a bet of that size, you have to be happy about. You can't.
Well, I wasn't happy about it.
It's just not a loss.
I wasn't happy about it. But
yeah, but it's not a loss.
Yeah. Here's a guy who says, Blazers collapse made me so angry, I went out and mowed my lawn in a rage. Oh, God, I bet that was so... That's just heartbreaking.
Getting so angry that you end up doing chores around the house, that's...
Well, you got to do something.
That's a tough type of just spell to sit and stew in.
That's another question. What do you do when you suffer one of the most painful losses for a fan? What do you go do then? I mean, sometimes you have no choice. You got to go, I don't know, you got to take your kids, do things like your obligations. But I don't know, what's like the best thing to do? Probably just drink a lot, right?
I'll say drink a lot, get the anger out, and then go watch some SpongeBob.
SpongeBob. You left out the weed.
No, I just enjoy that show.
Well, for me, it's probably Game 7 Giants Royals in 2014, but they ended up winning this World Series the next year, so that one was avenged. And then, you guys remember, we talked about it on the show many times, the back-to-back losses by Kansas in the NCAA tournament in the first round. They lost to Bucknell one year and then Bradley the next year. And it's like, dude, as a Kansas, we don't lose in the first. Like, what is happening? Who's this Bill Self guy? What is happening? Well, anyway, they won a title 2 years later. And I just found out today, because I was looking this up for reference here, I just found out today they have not lost in the first round. Well, until last year, they had not lost in the first round since Bucknell Bradley. I didn't even know that. So my worsts have all been avenged. So take notes on that, Mariner fans. That means you might have something good coming, Whereas the Blazers, see, I think that makes it so much worse. The Blazers have not been able to avenge that, right? Like there was not a run that wiped that memory away that made you feel better about that.
It's just more consistent pitfall of fandom.
Yes, it was like that was the moment, and now here we are, 25 years later, and that moment has not returned. Although they were in the West Finals one year, but anyway, I just I think it's a lot easier to handle when it gets avenged or righted a couple years later. All right, more text 503-864-6326 coming up next on The Fan.
It's time for a Ducks Report, the inside story on Ducks athletics. Brought to you by Mods PDX. The future of building is here.
Vincent alone to the right. At the 20, back to throw. Little pump fake. Got to go to the end zone. Back shoulder throw. He caught it. He caught that ball. That's a touchdown. Jeremiah McClellan.
All right, Ducks win. They move on. Texas Tech in Miami, 9 a.m. New Year's Day. What more could you ask for? It's exciting. Mods PDX, the future of building is here. A lot of text coming in on this topic here. We're talking about the Blazers commemorating the 2000 West Finals team that blew it to the Lakers. And it was rough. We don't need to, we all know what happened. But I think it's cool that they are commemorating that team. That team was awesome. They had Scottie Pippen. I remember he had a huge game. They had Sabas, Rashid. Of course, Damon Stoudemire. And I don't know who else started on that team.
Was that the team that Sabonis was on?
Yeah, Sabas was there. Sabas, Rashid, Damon, Scotty, and maybe
Jermaine O'Neal?
No, he was young.
Bonzi Wells?
He was on the team.
Rashid.
Well, we already named him.
I'm going through the
I think it was Steve Smith.
Steve
Smith. He was there. Yeah. And then the Lakers, of course, had Kobe and Shaq, and then all those guys, those role guys like Harper and those bros, Shaw. But, pivotal moment, Blazer history. We all remember where we were. I was at Damon's in Jansen Beach, high-fiving Blazer fans for whatever reason. I got caught up. You got me. But a lot of people texting on this, like, what do you do if you suffer one of your worst defeats, your sporting defeats as a fan? What do you then do? One guy says he went outside and rode his bike in the rain. His Packers lost to the Seahawks in the 2015 NFC Championship in the most excruciating way. They made several bad plays down the stretch. I was so mad I went outside and rode my bike in the rain.
That was a really low-scoring game, wasn't it?
No idea.
I think that was like a 20-13 game, I want to say.
Look at you. Sports brain. Here we go with a Bills fan. By the time the Blazers started breaking my heart, I was already well-equipped to deal with such losses, given my Buffalo Bills fandom. I wonder if that's true, too. Like, if you're a fan of two teams and one continually rips your heart out, you're hardened and ready for the other one to do the same, and it doesn't hurt as bad. Maybe that's right. Who else? Somebody said our high school basketball team was all at one guy's house for that Blazers game. We all sat dumbfounded and then went to the hoop he had and shot the most depressing game of hoops of our lives. Still remember one dude in the first half saying, if Sheed's hitting shots like this, we're going on to the finals for sure. Boy, it sure looked like it. Boy, I can't imagine being a Bills fan. If you lived through 4 straight, 4 straight, and they didn't win? That's excruciating.
That's so tough.
My God. And they still haven't won. That's as hard as it gets.
And they keep losing in the AFC Championship game to the team that ends up winning it all.
Totally. Somebody else says stay off all sports radio. That's a good one. Do you quit sports when you suffer a tough sports defeat? I do. I'm like, you know what? I'm shutting this out. I'm not watching anything else. I'm not watching the rest of the playoffs or the tournament. Whatever. I'm out.
Sometimes I will not listen after a Steeler loss, knowing that you guys are going to talk about it. It's just going to
it's going to piss you off.
Burn my ears.
Yeah, Tim Taylor is in. You remember Tim Taylor? Well, you don't.
The Tool Man?
Yeah, well, not that Tim Taylor. Our Tim Taylor. Bedazzled Jeans Tim Taylor. He says, when the Blazers lost to the Lakers in the conference championship after having the best record in the league, I had a brain aneurysm. And I said, wait, seriously? He did. He had a brain aneurysm. He sent me a picture of his scar and him playing with his kid. That looks like it's from 2000. That's unbelievable. My God. Astros walked off the Yankees on the Altuve home run in Game 7. I sent my phone through the floor probably faster than any baseball I've ever thrown. It's the only time I've ever reacted like that to sports. That from Jordan.
That one hurt a lot. But also, Altuve was having a heck of a year. I think he was the MVP. That was 17?
Yes.
That was the year Altuve won MVP. So, again, we had to pitch to somebody.
Here's our someone who says our fraternity at Oregon watched Game 7 and then had a kegger to drown our sorrows. I think that's the go-to.
That's a disappointing kegger.
Got to go to the booze.
Everyone just sitting there in absolute sorrow.
Yeah, but then once you get drunk enough, you forget about it and you start partying. And then you wake up the next morning and go, oh, they did lose that. All right, thanks for your text. We're going to move on. We've got some stuff coming up in the club here. We're going to talk about the top pop culture moments from 2025 you already forgot about and the most iconic Christmas movie characters. Coming up next on The Fan.
What's up?
from the George McCoy and Warren Allen Sports Desk, a Sports Center update on the Fan Sports Network, 105.1 FM and 1080 AM.
First on the Fan, the Indianapolis Colts host the San Francisco 49ers in Monday Night Football tonight. San Francisco has already clinched their playoff berth as they sit 2 games behind the first-place Seahawks. 49ers were 5.5 points coming into the game, but Phillip Rivers has just tied the game up at 14 apiece with a touchdown strike to Alec Pierce. Some more NFL news for you as Pittsburgh Steelers wide receiver DK Metcalf has been suspended for 2 games after an altercation with a fan during Sunday's game in Detroit. Metcalf can still appeal, but he is suspended without pay and could potentially miss Pittsburgh's Week 18 matchup against Baltimore. Your Portland Trail Blazers host Cade Cunningham and the Detroit Pistons tonight at 7 p.m. inside the Moda Center. Detroit is coming into this game as 5.5-point favorites, as the Blazers will be without Drew Holiday and Scoot Henderson, while Jeremy Grant will be a game-time decision. For more sports scores and stories in 30 minutes, I'm Casey Smith from the George McCoy at Warren Allen Sports Desk. Hurt and missing work? Insurance companies acting like jerks? Don't call your mom. Call George McCoy at warrenallen.com.
The Fan is live on YouTube and Twitch.
Bitch, she's a grade A bitch. Grade A prime bitch. All right, nice to have you along. There's an old bitch compilation just for old time's sake. I don't know. I'm going on vacation again.
That's a good one.
Yeah, thanks. There's more. Bye, bitch. Do not clip that, you son of a bitch. Lace him up, you little bitch. Let's go.
He's a bitch. That whiny bitch.
There's a lot of them.
You're a freaking bitch.
Pressure's on, bitch. We have fun around here. But that is offensive, so sorry for you kids that are listening to that. By the way, I got to give Lowercase a little credit here. Excuse me. He called this. We were talking about briefly discussing the Monday Night Football game before it started. And you said it feels kind of like a night where Phillip Rivers might drop 300 on the Niners.
I did say that.
You did say that. And so this is only in the first quarter. I mean, they've moved on to the second quarter now, but his stats, he has thrown for 137 yards and 2 tutties. He's 10 of 15. And that's in one quarter.
He's carving.
He is carving. And it looks like every time he throws, it looks like he is heaving it with all his might for
he looks like
10
he's
yards.
Throwing out his back every single time he heaves this ball.
But he looks better tonight. And they are tied. Colts, Niners tied 14-all. Early second. Good little ball game. Hope you had the over. One other sports thing before we move on. I want your opinions. And you can text 503-864-6326. I am in a survivor pool. And that's one where, you can enter as many times as you want. I entered 5 times. Okay, so it's like $30 per entry. So I'm into this for $150. And every week of the season, you just have to pick one team to win. Just win. No point spreads. But the catch is you can't use the same team twice. Well, we are now headed to week 17. I snuck one out with Houston yesterday. And I am one of 8 people. So there were 800 some people So it's like $24,000 at stake here. And if there's one person left standing at the end, they get all the money. If after week 18, there's like 5 people tied, they split it. That's how it works. But right now there's 8 left. So we have 8 people. One of them is me. I can assure you I've used pretty much every good team in the league.
Have you used a team that's fighting for a division spot yet? Because there's one division that you could pick from. And it could be a 50-50 shot either way.
You're talking about Tampa or Carolina?
Tampa or Carolina.
Yeah, so week 17, here are my options. Okay, what would you choose? And this team just has to win. I could play Dallas at Washington on Thursday. Short week, but Washington lost Mariota, and Daniels is out. But I don't trust the Cowboys. I could play the Cincinnati Bengals hosting the Cardinals. Scary because the Bengals suck. I could play the Jags at the Colts, but I don't love that divisional matchup on the road. I could play Tampa, they're at Miami. That's not a bad bet with Quinn Ewers playing there for the Dolphins. Or I could go New Orleans, who is taking on Tennessee in Tennessee. And I don't love that.
That's a game I don't want to touch. Tennessee,
yeah, I think I'm out
and
on
New Orleans?
Yeah, I'm out on that.
Yeah.
I'm leaning towards Cincinnati. Who would you take?
Cincinnati
They're
got
playing
shut out.
Arizona.
They got shut out last week.
No, they didn't. They beat Miami by like 50.
I'm sorry, the week before they got shut out by Baltimore.
That they did.
I don't know about Joe Burrow right now. I don't think that locker room believes in him as much as he's not believing in himself.
Well, I would have said the same thing going into Miami, but then they sliced Miami up.
Yeah, but Miami...
Arizona's terrible.
Is Miami even better?
Is Miami what?
Is Miami a little better?
Than who?
Arizona?
I don't know.
See, again, I say Miami is better than Arizona, but...
They are, but not with Ewers.
No.
So is my play the Bucks in Miami? What's my play?
I mean, it's a meaningless game for the Dolphins other than what do we want to do with the rest of our season, and Quinn Ewers, let me just try to build a resume here. That one makes the most sense.
Tampa.
Again, if you want to
what
pick
you're
the
saying?
Commanders, they just signed Jeff Driscoll to their roster.
But then I have to hope the Cowboys can stop a nosebleed. I don't know. It's a tough one.
That's a very tough one.
Tough one this week. All right, let's move on to the club topics du jour. So I've got the top pop culture moments from 2025 you already forgot about. And then the most iconic Christmas movie characters ever. We'll get to those items coming up here on The Fan.
The Fan Sports Network.
Burner here on Monday Night Football. Niners just went up 21-14 with 9:30 left in the second quarter. Good game. Brock Purdy v. Phillip Rivers. They cannot be stopped. So 2025, I've contended on this program that 2025 was the fastest year in the history of years. It has gone so fast. And everybody I talk, you got in the wild and you talk to people. Everybody I talk to, I say that to, they agree with me. And I don't know why.
I'm with you there. It went way too fast.
It was weird. Flying by. Anyway, there were a lot of moments in pop culture you may have forgotten about. These are pop culture moments from 2025 that you forgot. Do you remember who won the Grammy for Best Country Album?
Was it the Shabuzi win it this year?
Is Shabuzi country?
I don't.
Should I know that?
He's technically country, but he's got a hip hop background.
No, it's Beyonce.
Right.
Remember that? Yes, exactly. We
Cowboy
forgot.
Carter.
Cowboy Carter. Yep, she won the Grammy for Best Country Album, making that the first time a black woman had ever taken home the award. Cameras caught her looking stunned for a moment before smiling, and that reaction quickly went viral. Her win came after months of debate about country music gatekeeping and who gets to define the genre. Later in the night, she also finally won Album of the Year. I thought Cowboy Carter was pretty good. I like Beyonce.
I thought it had a few catchy singles.
Yeah, but I mean, no, country album of the year.
Well, what went up against it?
Oh God, I don't. Dude,
that's the thing. Is if you can't name what went up against it, but you could name Cowboy Carter, I think that wins.
Yeah, that's fair. People in the U.S. freaked out after TikTok was briefly banned on January 19th. That was way back in January. After its parent company, ByteDance, failed to divest U.S. operations, this triggered a shutdown for millions of American users overnight. However, within hours, a new executive order delayed enforcement for 75 days, allowing TikTok to restart service. Yeah, did you? No, I don't know. You're one of the kids. Are you on the talks?
I'm on Instagram, all that stuff, but not really. I don't spend a lot of time on TikTok.
Yeah, okay. Well, that was a big deal.
I do remember it being a big deal.
That was almost a year ago. Let's see, what else do I have here? Kendrick Lamar gave an epic performance during the 2025 Super Bowl halftime show.
Sam Jackson.
Delivering one of the very best halftime shows ever. Are they calling it that?
Ever?
That's what it says here.
Ever strong.
Yeah, I don't know.
I think I could name 3 or 4 before that.
Well, I'm not a huge Kendrick Lamar guy, but
I'm a big Kendrick Lamar guy.
Are you?
Yeah, I'm not in on it. No, I thought the Dr. Dre one where he got brought out with all the West Coast
Wasn't that the year
people.
before?
I believe not. Yeah, I think it was the year before. Or it was Alicia Keys.
No, hell, I don't remember. But I know which one you're talking about. The only thing I remember about the Kendrick Lamar Super Bowl halftime was his pants, his jeans.
I just remember kind of the set design.
He had the bootcut jeans.
Yeah, that's about it.
Yeah. On April 14, Katy Perry made headlines when she took a short trip to space, joining a high-profile all-female crew commercial flight that grabbed global attention. She then faced immediate backlash online, with people criticizing her for being out of touch and questioning the cost and purpose of celebrity space tourism. Needless to say, memes and hot takes flooded social media. Yeah, that's when I learned that I really couldn't stand Katy Perry.
She then followed up by being more out of touch, and I believe she's dating Justin Trudeau right now.
What?
Yeah.
Really?
I believe so.
Boy, that's a good get for him.
Oh, yeah, it's a great get
for him. Isn't he older
than
her? Way older than her?
Probably.
Man. Let's see what we got here. In July, Justin Timberlake found himself going viral on social media for all the wrong reasons after fans posted clips of him struggling to sing during a few European tour dates. The videos, which showed him barely hitting notes or singing quickly, sparked a wave of memes and commentary online. Later, Timberlake explained that he'd been battling Lyme disease, which affected his voice and stamina on stage. Now, that was a weird one. I had forgotten about that. He had a rough year.
He did.
And we love Justin Timberlake here, but that's right after he got his Dewey. and he was all messed up. I don't know if I buy the Lyme disease thing.
I don't think I do either, because I think that's the same excuse that Justin Bieber used back in the day, and then months later he was peeing in a janitor's bucket.
Yeah, I remember that.
Yeah. So, I mean, I love Justin Timberlake. I'm a big Timberlake
He's
guy.
great.
He's one of the only CDs that I've ever bought. I have a few.
Yeah?
I got a few Timberlake.
Wait, you're that young that you've never bought CDs?
Well, I don't have a lot, but when I go out and buy CDs, just because everything's digital now, I bought the vinyl for Justified, his 06 album last year.
The vinyl or a CD?
I bought the vinyl for it. I have the CD,
Okay.
but I bought the vinyl.
Yeah, so you are a big JT guy. Can't fool you.
Yep.
Hey, listen, rough year. I just feel like he's having some issues, you know?
Probably.
And I hope he's okay. These are the pop culture moments from 2025 you've probably forgot about. Now, this one I didn't even know about. But in July, Harry Styles announced he would be releasing a vibrator as part of his lifestyle brand. Did you know that?
He had kind of a weird year, didn't he?
I don't know. I don't really follow him. I think he's good, though. I think he's talented.
Was it still in the same calendar year that he had that movie and spit on Chris Pine during the presser?
What? That's not in here.
I think it might have been last year, but yeah, it was a whole thing. Him spitting on Chris Pine.
Now, why would he do such a thing?
I have no idea.
Who spits on Chris Pine? Lady Gaga returned to Coachella, headlining night one, and immediately made it her own, earning the nickname Gagachella. Her set was a theatrical extravaganza, blending hits from across her career with elaborate costumes, dancers, and jaw-dropping stage design. By the end of the weekend, Gaga had reminded everyone why she's one of the most iconic live performers of all time. Yeah, I had no idea.
I bet it was fantastic. I mean, Lady Gaga's an icon, but I don't remember that whatsoever being...
I don't either. I don't remember that being a big deal. I don't know.
What, was she ever, gone?
It was probably cool for Coachella people.
She just did, she won an Oscar not that long ago, right?
She won an Oscar for, the...
Stars Born?
Yeah.
I believe it won an Oscar.
She was good in that.
She was great.
In March, True Detective creator Nick Pizzolatto had fans buzzing when he said he had an idea for another story using Woody Harrelson and Matthew McConaughey's characters. However, Harrelson squashed that idea a few months later in October when on a podcast he said he would never do another season of the anthology series because the first season turned out great and that doing another season would, I think, tarnish that. That's his quote. I did not know that. Wow. That guy was going to do another... Because did you watch that at all?
Yeah, everyone wanted to.
Yeah, we wanted more of that.
We wanted a rerun of Daddario, is what we saw.
Good for him for saying no, but also screw you for saying no. You know what I mean? Come on.
Also,
it's what we want.
Woody Harrelson, he gets to say no to those things. He's done enough for us. He's done enough classics. Where
it was McConaughey that said no.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh,
that's what I just said, didn't I? Yeah, McConaughey. Wait. Oh. No, you're right. God. Should listen to my show.
See,
Harrelson squashed it.
Yeah, that makes... I guess he's just probably got more important projects. He's got a lot going on.
I didn't know that. I'm disappointed in that. Here's one. In an HBO Max documentary about his life, Paul Reubens, best known as Pee Wee Herman, revealed he was gay, sharing this part of his life posthumously. Did you know that? I didn't know that. I mean, I think care that he was gay. I just didn't...
speculation because of the whole movie theater thing.
Well, of course, but I just didn't know that that was after he died. He put that out there. I didn't even know that was.
Yeah, I had no clue.
Not that I mean, it matters. The film explored his groundbreaking career in comedy, television, and film, highlighting both his creative genius and the challenges he faced in Hollywood. Reubens had been out, but was forced to go back in the closet when he pursued his career as Pee Wee Herman. Oh, I didn't know that.
Well, he made children's movies.
Yeah, right.
So
yeah, you can't. Well, I mean, you can't.
You can, but be careful.
Now, I learned about Cat's Eye this weekend. Yeah. See, I'm up. I'm hip. Because I asked my daughter-in-law, who is 12, what her favorite musical act was. And she said Cat's Eye. So I had to go look that up, and now I get the bit. In August, amid the Sydney Sweeney American Eagle controversy, K-pop group Cat's Eye broke the internet with their millennial-coded Better in Denim Gap campaign, which featured hypnotic choreography set to Milkshake. The ad leaned hard into 90s and early 2000s nostalgia, particularly to Gap commercials of that era. The initial ad had over 151 million views on TikTok, and it launched tons of videos across social media. Wow. They're like a... I don't know.
Yeah, I don't remember the
you know
Cat's
them?
Eye campaign, but obviously I remember the major response to the American Eagle campaign.
Yeah, do you know what Cat's Eye is, though?
I've heard of them, don't know of them at all.
Yeah, just a little, poppy girl stuff.
Again,
look, when a 12-year-old girl
it's a
says...
K-pop group, so they're
Right.
they're insanely popular.
It's like, we don't need to talk about that. The 12-year-old girls like her, whatever. The TikTok of bunnies jumping on trampolines went mega viral and became one of the first AI videos to actually fool a lot of people. Were you fooled by that one?
That's one I haven't seen yet.
Yeah, it's just a trampoline, and there's a bunch of bunnies on it. And they're jumping up and down, and they do several different animal videos of that, jumping on a trampoline. I think there was a bear one.
Okay, yeah, I have seen this now that I look at it.
Yeah, that's fake, by the way.
Yep, could have
That's
fooled me.
AI.
Yep, that got me. That's one of those videos where you look at it and you go, oh, that's cool, and just keep scrolling on to the next one and kind of not even acknowledge whether it's AI or not. It's going, I
Right.
mean, if it is, it's cool. If it's not, even cooler.
Does it even matter? I was entertained nonetheless.
Exactly.
On May 30th, Taylor Swift surprised fans by announcing that she had finally regained ownership of the master recordings of her first 6 albums, something she had been publicly working towards for years. This meant she no longer needed to re-record her earlier albums to control her music, bringing an end to her long-running Taylor's Versions project. Now, this was May 30th of this year. I feel like that was like 3 years ago.
Yeah, they had been talking about, I mean, she's been, she's had a vendetta with her fan base against Scooter Braun forever.
Yeah.
So
By the way, Scooter Braun is with, is he the one with Sydney Sweeney right now? I think he is.
I believe you might be right.
Didn't we learn that recently? That douchebag. The summer was called Brain Rot Summer. The reason behind the name was that there was no song of the summer, iconic movie, or trend defining the season like in previous years. Instead, there were dozens of niche trends and viral things, but nothing that was huge that everyone agreed on, unless Nothing Beats a Jet 2 holiday videos count as the defining thing of summer of 2025. I was reading an article the other day, I think it was The Atlantic, and this guy was making the case that we are in the worst pop culture era of all time, which I find fascinating.
The fact that you just brought to my attention that there was no song of the summer or notable movie, that's kind of big, because I can't think of, other than like Barbie and Oppenheimer, which was 2023, we haven't had like a big rollout in the summer in a while.
We usually do. But, I mean, and look, it's a long article. It's worth a read. Let me see if I can pull it up. Who wrote that? Yeah, is this the worst era of American pop culture of all time? It is a long read, but it's definitely worth a read. And it is by... I'm pulling it up. I'll tell you who it's by. But he makes the case that, the movies suck now, not creative. He says we should be in like a renaissance of pop culture, because with the internet and social media, we have so many more people out there being creative that can be seen. So you would think that there would be, pop culture would just be this, we'd just be in a boom.
The cream would rise to the top.
And we're not.
You're right.
We're not. It's really weird. Yeah, it's by, so it's in The Atlantic, June 2025 issue by Spencer Kornhaber. And it says, is this the worst ever era of American pop culture? Meet the critics who believe the arts are in terminal decline. Worth a read.
Yeah, I can't really think of anything notable that came out in the summer.
Well, there you go. All right, let's get to the top Christmas movie characters of all time. Very important work is coming up next. Here's Casey.
Now, From the George McCoy and Warren Allen Sports Desk, a Sports Center update on the Fan Sports Network, 105.1 FM and 1080 AM.
First on the Fan, the Indianapolis Colts host the San Francisco 49ers in Monday Night Football tonight. San Francisco has already clinched their playoff berth as they sit 2 games behind the first-place Seahawks. The 49ers were 5.5 points coming into this game, and they are rolling down the field. They currently have the lead 21-14 and are driving into the red zone. Some more NFL news for you as Pittsburgh Steelers wide receiver DK Metcalf has been suspended for 2 games after an altercation with the fan during Sunday's game in Detroit. Metcalf can still appeal, but he is suspended without pay and could potentially miss Pittsburgh's Week 18 matchup against Baltimore, which could determine the winner of the AFC North. Your Portland Trail Blazers host Cade Cunningham and the Detroit Pistons tonight at 7 p.m. inside the Moda Center. Detroit coming in as 5.5-point favorites, as the Blazers will be without Drew Holiday, Scoot Henderson, and Jeremy Grant will be a game-time decision. For more sports scores and stories in 30 minutes, I'm Casey Smith from the George McCoy at Warren Allen Sports Desk. Hurt and missing work? Insurance companies acting like jerks? Don't call your mom. Call George McCoy at warrenallen.com.
The home of dirt and spray.
Dear.
Yeah, I just wanted to read you a little snippet from this Atlantic article. Is this the worst ever era of American pop culture? One critic says America's creative energy has been sapped, and the results can be seen in the diminished quality of arts and entertainment, with knockoff effects to the country's happiness and even its political stability. So he goes on to say, the 2020s have tested my optimism. The chaos of TikTok, the disruption of the pandemic, and the threat of AI have destabilized any coherent story of progress driving the arts forward. In its place, a narrative of decay has taken hold, evangelized by critics. They're citing very real problems: Hollywood's regurgitation of intellectual property, partisan culture wars hijacking actual culture, unsustainable economic conditions for artists, the addicting, distracting effects of modern technology. That's just a summary. The article's very long, but it is worth a read. Someone else said, the text line said, the algorithms are what is squashing any semblance of creativity. It's all geared toward giving people more of what they already like while suppressing their unique art that brings about new things. I think that's a good point, too.
Yeah, I'd agree with that.
I don't know, man. It's weird. I didn't thought about that until I read this, and now I'm like, oh, maybe that's right. But I also don't want to, be the old guy who's just like, well, it's not as good as it used to be. Because it's always just different. But it does seem pretty, I don't know. It does seem pretty lame. I mean, like, Taylor Swift's probably the biggest pop culture figure we have out there.
Yeah. Her and Beyonce. It's not.
Is she that great? You know what I mean? Like, I hate to rag on Taylor Swift. I'm just saying, like,
again, I've always been I've been a more of an Adele fan over Taylor Swift. I've always been in that camp. I don't like Taylor Swift's music. I love Adele's music. I don't understand how one person has just a fan base of hype. The other person puts out these beautiful sagas of albums.
Well, isn't that the point? That's what we're talking about here. It's like she's the number. Like, that's. I hate to make this sound like it's anti-Taylor Swift. She's amazing. What she's built is amazing. But that is the number one pop culture artist of our time. And it's really not that close. She's not that great. It's just, it's kind of, it's a bit hollow.
She's fine.
She's fine.
Again, she's fine. But
it's not earth-shattering music.
Again, do we want fine for the number one artist that we're in the world?
Maybe that proves this guy's point.
Yeah, I don't think there's a lot of... I guess there's too many icons nowadays, and I think that it takes away from, the mega superstars, the Taylor Swifts, the Adeles, the Beyoncés. But I still don't think the quality of what those three are putting out are, I guess, setting any standard for what should be put out.
Yeah. I don't know. It's weird. How about your favorite Christmas characters? Let's finish with that tonight. So I've got a list here of the top Christmas movie characters of all time. I really feel like there's only one that should top the list, and we should all agree. But it's kind of controversial.
Well, there's a couple.
Really? See, I feel like there's one that stands out. I mean, there's a lot. See, we can start naming them, and we're all going to be like, oh, yeah. But I think the genre is defined by one.
I think it's two.
Okay.
I think it's two.
Who you got?
I got Macaulay Culkin as Kevin.
He's on the list.
And I got Clark Griswold.
Yeah, see, I'm with you on both of those, but I do not believe they should be number one on this list. Kevin McAllister is number 5. And this is from, let's see. Then they've got Clark, number 15.
15?
Little low.
That's extremely low.
I think some of it, though, is just when you grew up. See, I'm going to be partial to Clark because it's just like, that's like right in my wheelhouse for my age. But you got to remember, you got Miracle on 34th Street, Kris Kringle, you've got Gizmo from Gremlins.
Gizmo from Gremlins
well,
is
he's on
better
the
than
list.
Griswold.
Well, you got Scrooge. How about Scrooge? Ebenezer Scrooge? I mean, that's a massive character. Any adaptation. You know what I'm saying?
Any adaptation.
But I think number one on this list should be the Grinch. And it's probably Jim Carrey the Grinch. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
How do you argue with that?
Yeah, you can't, because
and I know he's the bad guy, but it turns around in the end, and you know.
Yeah, I guess that's like one of the Christmas movies you can consider as a pure Christmas movie. One of those movies that you can't be set. It's not like a Die Hard or a Home Alone where it can be set in a different city, different state, this, that, or the other. The concept can't change.
Timeless,
with the Grinch.
Absolutely timeless, and they've got a new one coming out. Just keep remaking it. It's perfect. And that character, you can't beat that character. Also on the list, Jack Skellington, The Night Before Christmas. George Bailey, It's a Wonderful Life. That was played by Jimmy Stewart.
Okay.
They have John McClane. What? Now don't poo-poo the old movies. Okay, these are classics. Tread lightly. You're talking to an old guy.
Yeah, but I mean, we're talking about. I'm more appalled at where Griswold is ranked.
Yeah, you're flummoxed. We have rattled lowercase. Number 6 is John McClane. Bruce Willis, Die Hard. That's pretty good.
But at 6?
Yeah, that's not. Yeah, he's not top 10.
And Griswold's 15?
Right. 16, I think.
6? I mean.
How about Buddy the Elf, Will Ferrell? That's pretty good.
Where is he ranked?
7th.
Okay. I used to answer the phone, Buddy the Elf, what's your favorite color? So, I mean, that's fair.
Cute. What else do we have here? We have Ralphie, Christmas Story. You can't go. I mean, come on, man. That's classic.
See,
character.
that's one I would put in the top 5.
I think that would be a top 10er for me. Yeah. Sniffing the top 5. And we missing anyone big? Well, Frosty.
Or Jack Frost.
Yeah.
I mean, there's so many Jack Frost adaptations.
Rudolph. I mean, come on, he had a red nose.
Yeah, but are the Rudolph movies as good as...
No, I don't even remember the Rudolph movies.
They're not great. They don't hold up.
Of course you watch them. It's Christmas, but...
Yeah.
Yeah, that's why Kevin McAllister stands out. That's why Clark stands out.
It's why they chose to talk about Comet in The Santa Claus. They didn't want no Rudolph shine.
Also on the list, let's see what else is on here. They have Klaus. I don't even know what that is. 2019? No idea.
Klaus?
Yeah, I don't know. What is that? Explain that to me, young man.
Is that from, like, Krampus or something?
2019, it says. Klaus, I don't know. They have Tim Allen's character from Santa Claus on here in the mid-90s. Billy Bob... Willie T. Stokes. Billy Bob Thornton from Bad Santa. Hell yeah. That's a top 10 Christmas character right there. Arthur Claus from Arthur Christmas, also a good one.
Apparently Klaus is a animated movie.
Never heard of it.
It's on Netflix.
Maybe I'll watch it tonight. Oh, God. Boy, did you see that Philip Rivers pass?
No, I didn't. Was it a bad one?
He fluttered like I would. He's not happy. 24-14 Niners. Late second quarter. All right, we'll wrap this baby up next on The Fan.
The
Well, the Niners are leading at the half 24-17 over the Colts, and they just tried to kick a 64-yard field goal as time expired in the half. And bro, it hit the crossbar. Like he missed it by an inch. I mean, it could have hit the crossbar and went through. It didn't. It hit the crossbar a little low and shot back to like the 10-yard line. They almost made a 60.
We have kickers attempting 64-yarders like it's nothing.
I know, it's unbelievable. Aubrey's going to make a 70-yarder.
Oh, yeah, he's going. Have you seen the video of him ripping the 70 in pregame?
No.
Oh,
he's kicking 70s?
He's got a lot of leg left, too.
God.
He's got a few yards left.
It's unbelievable. That's the most points they've scored in a half on a Monday night game since that Rams-Chiefs game of 2018. 41. Should have taken the over.
I mean, with Phillip Rivers, I don't know why. Going into today, I was like, well, this is going to be an easy Niners victory. Phillip Rivers is putting up a good fight.
Yeah.
And the fact that they're within one score.
Well, listen, he's really not their problem. I mean, he's fine. You can move him up and down the field. Niners are, I mean, they haven't stopped the Niners at all, so. Anyway, I'm about to head off on vacation again. I just went on vacation. This job's great. Just got back from San Diego, a little 4-day weekend, but I will not be back on the program until Friday the 2nd. That's when Suk and I will be back together. So I must say, everyone have a very Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year. Now, does Lowercase have any big Christmas traditions?
I cook steaks for my family.
You cook steaks?
Yep, I cook the steaks.
On Christmas?
On Christmas Eve.
Christmas Eve, okay.
Christmas Eve, yep.
Like you grill?
I grill. So I'll get out the pan, start roasting a little butter in there, get everything going, and then I'll start searing some steaks, finish them off in the Traeger. Everyone's eating.
Every year?
I've started...
Since you were 6?
I started maybe 4 years ago and just kept doing it ever since.
That's fantastic. I bet your parents appreciate that.
I think they really like that they don't have to worry about what to cook or worry about.
Exactly.
Because Christmas Eve was always that toss-up day where we didn't know whether it's either go to church, do this, hang out with family, maybe we have a Christmas party to go to, and all of a sudden it's like, I'm going to cook steaks, we're all just going to hang out.
You've created a tradition.
I like it.
That's great. Well, my wife always gets pissed because in our family, we're kind of one of those families that never really celebrated Christmas on Christmas, because we were in different parts of the country and we'd come together like after. Or
makes sense.
When schedules warranted. And my wife hates it. Absolutely hates it.
Not celebrating on actual Christmas.
She needs it on the 25th. So we've now created our own little tradition on the 25th. We're home. We're home now.
There you go.
Home again. Her and I. The kids will be over. It'll be great.
Are you a Christmas party guy, or are you very much a stay-at-home?
No,
people
definitely
can come over
not.
and see me if they need to.
That's right.
Yeah.
No parties.
Yeah.
The Christmas parties happen before Christmas. I'm very big. I went to one in San Diego with my brother's neighborhood and everything. It was great, but no, not for Christmas. Christmas is with family.
I'm all Thanksgiving. If you want to come see me party for Thanksgiving, I'll have a few days there.
I can come over there and just ring your doorbell and be like, "Hey, Lowercase, I want to party with you for Thanksgiving."
You're we'll just be sitting there watching football and drinking.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah, that's my traditions in terms of what happens during football season is very football centered.
See, I'd be very jammed up if someone just crashed our Thanksgiving. You can't do that. You can't be crashing other people's family gatherings.
Well, you'd be a good guest though.
Well, I've
had some bad guests.
Yeah.
Again, that make the holidays a little awkward where people start looking around like,
who's this guy?
Who's this guy? And can I make this joke? And
and
this,
why
that,
is
and the
he
other.
here?
Yeah. But other than that, for the most part, let it fly.
On Thanksgiving, but not on Christmas.
On Christmas, it's
family.
We're just gonna be a chill. We're gonna have a very chill day.
I like the way you put that. You want to see me, you can come over to my house.
Exactly.
Actually, if you want to see me, do not come over to my house. Not for Christmas, baby. Well, I'm thankful for a lot of things, guys. I'm thankful for our listeners. You guys are awesome. Appreciate you guys hanging with us all these years. It's been a long run. And at least for now, we're not going anywhere. 2026, we're on FM now. This is great. It was big. That was a big deal for us here in the market. And thankful for my big bald partner. He's great. Love Big Sook. I've been talking with him back and forth on text today. How much we appreciate one another and mutual respect, and I love him, and it's been fun working with him, and we're gonna keep it rolling. So I'm gonna dock this boat. I'll be back January 2nd. Sook is in tomorrow with Lowercase. Everybody have a great holiday. Stay safe, and we'll talk to you down the road. The guys are back tomorrow, 3 to 7 on Fan Good Night.